we don't have a problem with you, honestly. But fuck this fucking guy.
You're fighting an unbeatable foe. You know that, right?
We have detained Billy Butcher and Hugh Campbell. They are here at the studio.
You know what would be super fucking helpful right now? Is if you would talk to me, bitch.
My reign will last forever, and when this world is cold and dead, I shall remain eternal.
You heard it up top. We are exploring that right proper vulgar comic book universe for the very last time as we talk season 4 and the series finale of The Boys here on Normies Like Us with your hosts, Colin Miko. I can talk now and I suck.
Mike Lander? Yeah.
And this is Petite Jakey. Oh, Petite Jakey.
I guess it could have been Kumaiko. I speak now.
So glad you didn't say Jewy.
Yeah, that's
so
probably a good
worried
idea.
for a minute.
I just love who does he love?
Kimiko.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. I
Oh,
love
Huey
Billy
loves Billy Joel. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's being Huey. He's not being Frenchie.
No, yeah. He started,
Team
anyway.
Huey.
And we're actually season 5, a V for Vought, season V to end the series. Intentional? Who knows? But we definitely know
That's right.
Vought will be rising
With this
later.
series,
but we're not here for that. Right. Not at this point. We did our only dedicated episode to The Boys was the kind of first set of episodes for season 4. We'd only covered it in like watches to that point. So when I looked back at the episode lists anyway.
That is correct, Mike, and yet it's so wrong.
But we
given how
covered
much the show
Gen
has
V
been so prominent.
By itself.
That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
That we did a season 1, and then of course we very famously, if you listen to these episodes consistently, hear us discuss in like 2 episodes, decide not to watch Gen V season 2, and then Jacob later admits he never finishes it, and we all go, and that's why you're not getting an episode on season 2, listeners. Like we specifically
haven't
call
finished
out
it.
that we're like done with it. Good.
And
I'm
I
glad
was
you-
told
Yeah.
I was told that the Gen V cast was going to have a big part of this season, and
Prove
then
it.
turns out I was lied to because they're just hanging out at a cabin, I guess, doing nothing.
I think
They
we were
drove a
lied
bus.
to in a lot of ways when it comes to this season. But yes, Gen V, we didn't do season 2. I finished it, but famously canceled like during the run of season 5 of The Boys. So it's like that all just gets
But
left
in the
up in the air.
universe of
Yeah.
the Boys, Marie Moreau is like a god level superhero on the level of Homelander, is what we're told, is that her powers are so strong that she's like a Homelander level superhero, and then for her not to have really anything to do in the finale, it was pretty crazy.
Or
But-
blood bending. We never see it again.
I
Yeah.
can't control my powers. Didn't you hear?
You spent all of season 2
That's good.
training to do that. That's what season 2 was about, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but we're talking The Boys season 5,
We are.
5th and final season.
We're going to be talking The Boys overall, obviously, a lot as
And
well.
the girls.
Kind of our sundowning, the 2 girls. No, there's more. There are a couple more girls, but our sundowning thoughts on how this franchise sort of wrapped up. I guess just finales in general. I feel like there's so much discourse post the Stranger Things and Game of Thrones finales where people really fandoms just seem to completely cannibalize themselves no matter what the finale is, kind of, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys kind of see any of that bullshit.
I mean, I see people going crazy. I mean, I first saw this with like Lost, but this was before like Reddit was popping, but there was like a lot of people disappointed with that. Game of Thrones is the most famous big one, and now it's Stranger Things following that. I think they don't eat each other alive, the fan bases. It's just they have been like objectively lackluster, right?
I think the problem is a lot of times final seasons, a lot of time it's a slow decline quality in
Yes.
quality over time as the show goes on, but then by the final season, all those problems are finally amplified and people go, wait a minute, has this show like sucked for like the last couple years? Actually, we're just realizing it now. I think that's what happened with Game of Thrones. And maybe that's what happened. I mean, I know a lot of the problems that I had with this season were prevalent in previous seasons of The Boys. It was sort of a slow decline where it felt like they were sort of spinning their wheels, repeating themselves kind of. And so that's why I think it was good that it wrapped up with this season, but
Yeah.
arguably you could have wrapped it up after season 3 and
Yeah.
not really lost anything of value, you know?
I remember when we did the season 4 episodes, we were like, yeah, I'm glad that it is going to end because like we're running out of steam here. And I think we all kind of agreed that season 3 was the peak. So how were you feeling like going into these episodes? I think I was higher on it going in just because I'm like, yeah, it's the boys, you know, whatever. But where were you guys at going into season 5? You know?
Well, I mean, you know, I've been saying that I started watching the new season of Invincible and I was like, guys, Invincible is better than the boys right now. So I was kind of like, I didn't have super high expectations on the boys because I was like, I was ready for it to be over and I wanted to see how they would wrap it up. I thought, you know, the end of season 4, it's like, okay, finally we're moving towards a conclusion. And you know, this season wraps it up, and how successful were they? We'll find out.
And we'll get into that. Yeah.
I would probably say I was on the higher end of the Die Hard spectrum. I've really enjoyed this series quite a bit. I agree with you. Season 3, my absolute favorite season. Season 4, pretty rocky. Kind of the only one I haven't rewatched. And then, I mean, I'm not even going to be transparent about how I feel about this kind of
Translucent?
dog shit. The translucent about this dog shit, dog knot season.
There we go.
Of bullshit television. But we'll talk about that a bit.
We'll see where she lines up at the end of it.
Hey. My father really loved this show. He specifically, for some reason, truly, I've mentioned this before on this podcast, developed this insane man crush on Jensen Ackles, so much so that seeing him in Soldier Boy inspired him to get into Supernatural. Obviously not usually the chain of events that you kind of follow in that universe, right? So and he was just so excited to see him in this season, knowing that it was advertised this way. So I went in being like, hey, like, no matter what you guys say, I agree with you, season 4 kind of sucked, but you guys have to admit, and this was kind of the only card I could play to people, was it's pretty dope that they're wrapping it up. Like, you have to admit, it's going to be pretty cool to see what they end up doing, if they kill Homelander, if they, spoiler alert, if you're kind of like a non-comics person, but if they go with the comic book ending that kind of ends up making Butcher kind of the ultimate villain. And again, what we'll talk about is they ultimately kind of end up going with none of that bullshit. So, but anyways, Mike,
right.
what
I heard
Mike,
about the
real
comics,
quick.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
please.
just that the comic ending is worse than the show ending in that it's just like the comics are just really bad, but that's just
The comics in general are just dog shit, absolutely
Yeah.
horrible. We've talked about it. They're just
Yeah,
shock humor,
yeah.
post 9/11 edgelord bullshit. So I don't want any of it, but they do have an interesting ending that could have been adapted in a more interesting way. That this show is.
Well,
certainly-
was it the
No, I'm not interested in any of that.
the Black Noir being like a clone of Homelander?
No,
or
I'm just
whatever?
talking about straight up just being like Butcher being a killer and being
Right.
like, I'm going to kill every person at the end, and like straight up
Hmm.
using his superpowers to murder people, you know, with his bare hands.
Arguably,
you
they
know,
did
which
kind of
they-
do that. Well, we'll talk about it with the
But
virus.
they
have
this
commit.
show pussyfoots around with making him a villain in a way that literally we have episodes where he says, and I'll give you that right cure, won't I? And things will be fine. And I'm actually a good dude. Where you're like, no, this is not at all what this season was promised with a guy who, if you recall how season 4 ended, was completely controlled by his schizophrenic, you know, imagination and ripped, you know, a former girlfriend of his best friend into pieces. You know, it's like, no, that's not the guy we get this season.
That's right.
at
R.I.P. to
all.
Victoria Newman.
Yeah, we got her to
R.I.P.
flip
to
and
Nick.
nope.
Yeah.
So that was
Flipping it.
diabolical on his
But-
part.
But Mike, tell me where your head was at going into more The Boys. And did
I
you
was-
finish Gen V?
I finished Gen V. Yeah. I finished season 2,
Wow.
and you know, it is what it is at this point. But I like some of those characters. It's just like a bummer that it's dead. Maybe it's not, depending on how they handle Vault Rising. But we'll talk about that at the end. I was ready for it. Like I was optimistic that they were gonna like land the plane and come up with an interesting way to conclude everything. Like we have all the pieces. We got Soldier Boy. We got our virus that we've been working on. We're gonna get Homelander. Like that's all we've ever wanted. Like for Homelander to get his. And it's like, all right, how are they gonna do that? Because obviously that has to happen this season. So I was kind of optimistic that they might find some clever way to pull this thing off. So I was here for it. I love the boys, so yeah.
Not me. I'm a hater.
I did do half of
well-
Invincible. I haven't finished that season yet, but it's all right.
No, me neither. But I will.
I think
one day.
I started out like season 1. I think of the boys was so good, and then I think I haven't rewatched it, but if I go back and rewatch, I think seasons 1 through 3 were good, but then by 4 it was starting to wear out its welcome, and so I think 5 was the right time to wrap it up. Yeah.
Famously, season 2 includes an episode, Jacob, featuring the character Stormfront radicalizing an actor that we know as Fat Neil from Community, which we've discussed and talked about on this podcast as being one of the best depictions of just right-wing brainwashing that has sort of like ever happened, I would say, on TV. And that episode got a lot of press. Obviously, the rise of fascism was an overarching element of that season. The big twist that Stormfront, as you even point out in that episode, Jacob, when we're talking about it, is like a right-wing news organization. It's like, like all these like subtle hints that you should have like seen these things coming and stuff, right? And it's interesting how much it got in its head, a show that started as a parody of the MCU, and ultimately what I think it became, and why I think this is a failure, and it's kind of the big point I want to talk about during this whole episode, is when it became a parody of just Donald Trump.
Yes.
Right.
And that was a slow thing over the last couple of seasons. Newsflash, the character named Stormfront is a Nazi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the slow descent into just the political satire, and it always had political satire, but
Absolutely.
The over-reliance on Homelander is just Trump now, and I think that was to its detriment creatively as a show. And I hate to say it because it's something that all the right-wing chuds online were sort of correct about, in that it went too hard on that angle, and to the creative detriment of what was actually happening in the show. Although I think that, we'll get into the plot of this season. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but I just think Homelander in season 1 was an intelligent, capable character who was evil, but was not just a one-dimensional insane person that he became by season 5. So he sort of got Flandersized, whatever you call that, to a certain degree over time, where he went from like a capable, evil antagonist to a very one-dimensional character.
Yeah, and I'll say off rip, like Homelander, regardless of what we think of the end of the season, one of the most iconic villain performances in superhero media, like Anthony Starr, like from season 1, like what a great character. So we'll discuss where we think that all ended up, but I think he'll still go down as one of the great villains, a Joffrey, like you just love to hate him kind of thing.
And I actually liked the last episode of this season, so we'll get into why that is later. But
I got a little bit of this temp V if you guys want to shoot up real quick and jump into our final thoughts on the final season.
V1
initial thoughts. You want V1? We got to go to Bomb Site for that, but I think I know a guy who knows a guy.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. Zoom. We just use our super speed. That's right. A-Train style. Goodbye, A-Train, because we're talking the final season of The Boys here on Normies Like Us.
That's right. It all has led up to this. All your questions may be answered. Maybe not. I don't know. But, it's over. This is it. This is the last season of The Boys. Proper, anyway.
That's right.
Yeah.
So of course, at the end of season 4, we had our boys were broken up, where we had several of our boys were captured and are now in a Homelander internment camp.
That's right. We have our freedom camps. We had our psychic girl and our Superboy. I can't remember their character names from Gen V.
That's right.
Being
Very
recruited.
important characters.
Yeah, they were the ones that did it.
I'm laughing again just thinking about that meme you said a million years ago. Kate, the psychic girl, touching Frenchie and saying, "You're not gay anymore." No.
She took his
You
superpower.
forget our boy Sam when he showed up in Scream and got turned into a beer tap
Well, he's Huey's brother, right? No, is that different? That's a different Scream, but they're both in Scream.
What's that?
Well,
Huey was in
that's
Scream.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, Huey's also in Scream. Yeah, I always forget.
Yeah,
And of course, we are talking about Mortal Kombat again this week. A lot of our franchises are crossing.
there was a
over again.
fatality in that one. Yeah.
Yes. I mentioned Petite Huey, which was obviously Frenchie's nickname for Hugh, and I think it's very funny to look at 6'5" Jack Quaid or however tall he is, and say Petite Huey when he's like the tallest, most handsome guy there.
Mhm.
Very
Taller
funny.
than Carl Urban.
Taller than Homelander.
Smoke.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
like
Honestly.
literally looking down upon him.
But we love Jack Quaid, one of the good nepo babies.
Yep.
We're gonna talk a lot of about this season. We're gonna do initial thoughts. We really haven't kind of gotten Mike's yet. Jacob and I have kind of hinted at some disdain, although Jacob just dropped a bombshell that he likes the finale. I'm very excited to hear that.
Yeah.
But I'll just quickly do a shout out as we're doing final or first thoughts
Initial,
here,
yeah.
and say there is no one on the cast that I begrudge for however this season went out. This is a show where across the board, I love every character. I love every performance. I am just down for all the actors involved. You just shouted out Jack Quaid, who's probably my favorite. Obviously, Huey's like such a great protagonist or whatever. But like we already shouted out Anthony Starr, Carl Urban. These are my babies. This is my gang. You know, and I only wanted the best for this final season for them and for their careers and for them not to be harassed by online weirdos.
Aaron Moriarty. Don't look, leave her alone.
Karen
Don't say
Fukuhara.
anything mean to her.
Guess what?
Oh yeah.
Her existence does not matter to any of you people. Just like, let's just put it there and just be quiet and shut the book is all I would say to
just
any
go browse Kalshi or something else. Like do something else with your time. You don't need to be doing that.
She's crazy.
Not an endorsement, by the way.
No, we like all the cast. Oh, I will say like some of the characters in this season felt kind of wasted. Like Soldier Boy, you're saying your father loved
Jensen Ackles.
What's his name? Jensen Ackles. I would say he's not the only one because Eric Kripke obviously loves Jensen Ackles to a degree that is too much, I would say, and to the detriment of the season where it felt like Soldier Boy, it was missed opportunity with his character. Then you had Sister Sage. I felt like her story was like complete bullshit this season. Like I don't like what they did with her character. But I like those actors, and I like, I want them to be better. But
you're talking about Sister Sage, and I did not get Taco Bell today. I usually have a Baja Blast. What am I
Where's
doing?
Your Crunchwrap Supreme.
What am I doing? She wants a fucking chalupa. Okay.
Chalupa,
Mike is mocking me. He left this receipt to taunt me.
That's right. The clue is to talk about her receipt. I like that actress, and the problem they always say with super intelligent characters, they're only as smart as the writers. And some of that slips in this season, and even with Homelander stuff slips where like they forget about his super hearing all the time. Like people are just whispering in the same room as him about shit.
If you're in the same building and you're whispering, he can hear you. You can hear your heartbeat.
They just throw that out the window.
Like a mile away. He's got fucking X-ray vision. He's got all of it. It's the classic Superman problems, but no.
So he feels severely underpowered at times in this season, which again, he was so menacing early on in the series. So that's kind of one of my bummer points initial.
Well, that's the problem when you make such an all-powerful character. You need to sometimes nerf his powers to fit the plot when it doesn't make sense. And people are going to have a problem with that.
I've been rewatching season 1. They use those sonic grenades that temporarily stop him because like the hearing stuff. They bring up this line where they mail Translucent's body back to him in a box. Do you guys remember that scene where he says, "The deep, what's the one thing my X-ray vision can't see through?" And he says zinc, and he's like, "This box is made of zinc." It's like that's like all that shit you could like fucking bring back in like interesting.
Well, they did bring
that they used to
barely
have.
The zinc.
The zinc thing they did this season too.
They did this. Yes, they did a little bit this season. They revealed this new irradiation thing. Like but the show really used to focus on how can we try to kill these soups, and now it's just like we're just all on V. Butcher's
blah blah
got
blah
the
virus.
Tentacles. It's all about the virus, baby. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I know.
But this was
Like
my
even
problem with Sage last season was that I was like, well, what's her plan? She's the smartest person in the world. What's her genius plan? Well, it turns out her plan was to basically start a war between soups and regular people so that everyone on Earth would die so she could just hide in a bunker and have all the time to read, like it's the fucking Twilight Zone episode. And it's like, that was your whole plan? That's fucking stupid. Like, what are you talking
So,
about?
Jacob, this is one of these really stupid fucking things where I do have to say, if you watch all of Gen V season 2, I don't know if you got to this part. She does come at a certain point, and it's kind of revealed that maybe her master plan is that she's preparing Homelander's body for this dumb asshole to inhabit it, and that they were just going
right.
to share and have a life together, and that she wants to do that, and
Who
then
was that? The
pivots to
headmaster of
just
the
wanting to be
school or
alone.
something?
Yes,
Godolkin.
the weird headmaster of the school. Yeah,
Right.
who's like her intellectual equivalent, right? That she says. So
Right.
they
I
don't,
forgot
they
about
make
that.
no efforts to tie in any of that garbage in this stupid season.
No.
So there's no excuse for any of it.
No. I just
Yeah.
remember dueling class.
And again, with Soldier Boy, I thought they were headed towards some interesting stuff, some father-son relationship stuff with him and Homelander, and then it just doesn't quite meet the expectations, and it kind of falls flat, and it ends up not mattering at all.
And we also have Soldier Boy was brought back seemingly for the sole purpose of spending way too much time setting up characters that will be in Vought Rising, like Bomb Sight and Golden Geisha. Like it's literally just an advertisement for this other
There's
show
whole
instead of focusing.
episodes.
Exactly.
It's like essentially a backdoor pilot for this spin-off in the final season of your main
Yeah.
show when you should be focusing on that.
And
Yeah,
that's
you're
coming from
focusing on Bomb
Amazon.
Sight.
Like you got to advertise the new thing that we're doing.
I
Right.
guess. I don't know.
It's
I don't know,
content
man.
problem. I would
There's
assume.
but there's so much miscommunication occurring because you have a lot of defensiveness now. And look, again, everybody get offline. I don't care about any of this. Creators shouldn't have to immediately like be responding to every fucking tweet and saying like, well, you don't know how hard it was or whatever. But also like, don't send these people these messages. Like you don't need to be like just watch this thing and I don't know, talk amongst yourselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
Messages are getting to these people and they're getting very defensive. And his whole thing he's saying is it's like, well, where are you guys getting that this was going to be this like big season with nonstop fights? Where have we ever prepared this? And you go back and you look at these posters.
Yes.
And the posters are Homelander. The two posters they released for this season are Homelander flying in space and nukes going off on the planet. And it says like scorched earth. And then the second one is Billy Butcher walking outside of Vought Tower, like exploding in the background, like crumbling. And again, it says like scorched earth, final season of The Boys or something like that, right? You're like, okay, that was the marketing. Then you look at the quotes that Eric Kripke literally had where he said, the thing about this final season is every episode is going to feel like its own season finale. Our budget is bigger. Our characters are bigger. Anybody could die at any moment. The stakes have never been larger. And why would you say this bullshit when none of that is true? You are over-promising.
Definitely making expectations too high for what you delivered. But I mean, I have some sympathy for creators that are trying to finish a story because obviously final seasons, Stranger Things, Game of Thrones, now The Boys, they always disappoint because endings of stories are hard to do. And it's like, it's much easier to like kind of keep the story going, but to actually wrap things up in a satisfying way, it's very hard to do. That's why, George R.R. Martin hasn't finished his books yet because endings are fucking hard. So I give them a little bit of grace in that way, but the fact that you did advertise it in a certain way and then it didn't meet what you said, that's really kind of the issue, right?
Yeah, and I think again, is that a studio thing? Like, did they get to design the poster? Was Amazon just like, fuck it, right? We'll just lie. We just lie now. I don't know.
Right. I mean, what they were saying, it sounded like it would be very expensive budget-wise, so maybe they had to change some things and cut some corners and make it less budgety, but it definitely wasn't what they were selling.
So I guess broadly, initial thoughts are we all three didn't love it, but maybe there's some things that we are okay with. Like it's not all dog shit, but it wasn't great.
It circles around to fan expectations and all this dumb shit where I have this odd relationship where I'm like, no, there shouldn't be any fan expectations. But then when I am a fan, I'm like, no, why did you do shit that way? You needed to do it how I wanted it to go. And to that, none of that really affects my opinion. But the marketing, those weird things, I do get bothered that this show did not wrap in a way that seemed to be advertised towards me. That I'm bothered by. How this season actually ended and went, there were a lot of episodes I liked, and then there was a lot of plot holes that I kind of saw that kind of bugged me, but ultimately I liked the resolution that most characters got. So I agree with what you just said, Mike. Like, I'm bugged, but like ultimately happy, and it sounds like most of us are. Like, again, Jacob, if you liked the finale.
Well, yeah, I liked certain things about the finale, which I'll talk about in a minute, but
Yeah.
basically it did feel like there was a strange amount of like fillery episodes within. So you have 8 episodes in the final season to wrap things up, and what you're choosing to spend time on in certain episodes was very strange to me. Again, with the Vought Rising spin-off stuff, and it just felt like, and also stuff with the Deep, focusing on the Deep so much.
Wow,
it's just like some of these side characters that they bring back where it's like, I could have done without this maybe, but
to do an episode where it's the multiple point of view episode, and they're like, look, we've got a lot of characters. This will be a great
That
way
was a
for
cool
us to
idea.
just like wrap up
One
some
shot.
of these stories. That's a fucking fantastic
That's my
idea.
favorite episode.
Great title, One Shot. One of my favorites, ties in incredibly to the idea of comics in general. Beautiful. Love the concept. You're highlighting characters like Oh Father, who are new characters for this season, who are taking up real estate from characters that are getting nothing to do. Like, I'm already like, you introduced Sage last season. Can you land Sage? And they're like, don't worry about Sage. We've got like this stuff we're worried about too. And I'm like, you can't be worried about these two things. You have the boys to land still. Like, you need to focus on finishing that stuff. That's where I
in that,
yes.
Yeah, and in that episode, I like that episode conceptually, but like the Black Noir 2 stuff where he's like doing a play and they bring back the movie director guy. It's like that felt like unnecessary.
This beef with him in the Deep, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't care about Black Noir 2 or whatever his deal is.
Jacob, there is a part of my brain that as much as they have made fun of the MCU, and they are now, of course, literally calling themselves the VCU, the Vought Cinematic Universe, and that it's all tied together, and they have all these shows developing and all these spin-offs and blah, blah, blah. And in universe, they also call it the VCU, of course. That to actually kind of do parody homages, to give Adam Borkman, the director, like a reappearance, and Jacob, my absolute favorite, to have Eagle the Archer appear as a Yellowstone style actor and give him a wrap up. We have not seen him since season 3. He's a character that does not matter to any of this story whatsoever.
Right.
I always like the idea that like if you're a soup in this world and you're not like cut out for crime fighting, you can always go into the entertainment industry and like have your own show. And that's kind of what Gen V was all about, where you could go into like the performing arts instead of crime fighting.
That's right.
But yeah, it does feel like there was a lot of like filler, less focus on our core cast, and I would have liked to see them more.
And outside of our opening episode, which is literally the one that has sort of the most stakes, it's the boys in the prison camp. You also get kind of my heaviest critique, which is you really just don't see what the world thinks about all this bullshit. Like what made the fucking Fat Neil episode so amazing was he was just some guy. His little story was self-contained in that little thing, and he was just a dude, and you're like, oh my God, how weird is it living in this world of superheroes? Like, it's the same criticism that we had with Peacemaker season 2, where they're like, how crazy would it be to be in a fascistic superhero world? Where I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. Show me what that's like. And they're like, well, we can show you what this room's like. And I'm like, no, show me like what the world's like. You're promising that this whole world is ruled by evil superheroes. What's that like for normal people? And they're like, we can't really show you that.
Yeah.
We can show you like this room.
One street max. Yeah.
Maybe the White House president's room. Like, that's it. We can't show you the White House. We can show you his room. We can show you the Oval Office.
Yes.
Because you hear about starlighters in this universe, which are sort of the fighting against the fascism of Homelander. But you don't actually see normal people. And of course, the big Homelander arc this season, right, is him having this religious vision where Elizabeth Shue comes to him and says, "Hey, remember me from season 1?" And he decides, "I am a god." And he's like, "So basically, I want to become God, and I want people to believe in their hearts that I am God." So he has this whole plan to make everyone in America worship him as a god, and that's a huge part of this season. But we don't really see what the outside world is thinking, other than like these focus groups and stuff. And now you can say that is somewhat prescient of with the Donald Trump comparisons, of course, because he did, post that image of him as Jesus or
Well, that was a
whatever,
doctor.
and even yeah.
No,
Oh, he's
yes.
just a doctor.
He's just a healer. It's not enough to me, Jacob, that Eric Kripke can just tweet and go, "Holy crap, can you believe in the same week our episode where our fascist blonde-haired idiot says he's Jesus, that this blonde-haired idiot says he's also Jesus?" I get that. Again, that's so much noise. Eric Kripke, I do not want to think about any of these things. Like, it's like,
It's too
I understand that that's what you want to hit so hard. Again, I just want you to be the boys.
Mm.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you're getting too far away from who Homelander was as a character, where he's now basically having this like schizophrenic breakdown where he
Why
believes
does
he
he
is a
think
god.
he's Jesus before he even gets the V1? Like, if he wasn't immortal, why would he ever have thought he was Jesus?
Because he's just insane. I think he's just sort of, his mind has deteriorated, and that's what we're supposed to get from these visions and stuff that he's having. And it's too much breast milk, maybe.
It's that, yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's that the speech he gives in season 3 or whatever. It's like, "I'm better," like mask off, where he's like, "I'm better than all of you lowly humans," and everybody cheers for him. Like, yeah, dude, he said the thing out loud. Like, he's Homelander, right? That's when people really started dick riding for him. But he's just all in on that. Like, I am truly Homo superior. It's Magneto.
It's
to
the
11.
endpoint conclusion of his character, maybe, of I am a god, basically.
But not to be that guy again to talk
Yeah,
about
no.
comic books. But I believe more the idea of him being a supremacist, which is what he acts like and is.
Yeah.
But if the end goal was, then I'm just going to kill every human. Like, this just needs to be over.
Yeah.
Opposed to just like, I'm Jesus. I'm literally Jesus Christ. And a guy will put a crown of thorns on my head.
Right.
But I think the most important thing about Homelander as a character, which was hit on last season, was that, we find out a little more about how he was made, basically, and how he was raised. He goes back to the like laboratory where he was kept at, and he sees the scientists and stuff. And they're like, yeah, basically we programmed within you a need to be admired, a need to be validated, right?
Yeah.
He needs the validation of other people. So that neediness is what was supposed to keep him obedient to Vought, right? And that's what made him into this unstable personality he is now. So I think there's something where he needs people to, in their hearts and minds, literally believe that he is a god. And that's why he has this whole plan with all these psychics where it's like, well, if they're not true believers, just kill them, because like it's like,
wipe
well,
them out.
yeah, like you're not going to convince people just with some good marketing or something that you're a god all of a sudden. That's a little stretch too far.
Can you imagine? You just have to start watching these Easter specials that Trump just starts rolling out, and he's like, "I am Jesus. Jesus told me I'm him." Right. We all just have to like put up with it. Can you fucking imagine?
Right. Oh man.
And that's what's ironic is that the Trump, when he posted that image, it was actually ironic because for some of his fan base, that actually was a step too far, where they're like, wait a minute, you're not Jesus. Like, we still worship Jesus. We're like hardcore Christians or whatever. We still love MAGA, but you're not literally Jesus. And even he was like, okay, I can concede that was too far, even as a Trump guy.
Right.
And you see that in some of his battles with the Pope, where the Pope is disagreeing with him on the war in Iran and stuff, right?
Everything.
So it's like, so it's making Catholic Trump supporters think like, wait a minute, I have to choose between the Pope and Trump. So even you could be a diehard Homelander supporter in this world and still think like, well, he's not a literal god. Like he is a human that was injected with V1 and made into, you know, a very powerful person. But he's not the son of
Right.
God or God, you know.
And that brings up, because again, we see that when they're doing the screenings, it's all these diehard Homelanders are like, yeah, you know what? I don't know if I buy this, and they're marking them off. But it makes me think too, like in the early seasons, we had superheroes from like other countries. Like what is like,
Yeah.
like what is the world response to Homelander being like Church of God? Like, is it maybe it's too much to ask, but like, does China have a soup that's an answer for this rise of Homelander aggression or something?
Right.
That
That
should
would've
be in
been
consideration.
interesting.
It's
They
the
say
nuclear
the one
weapons.
line where they say, once I declare myself Jesus, the Saudis are going to stop giving us oil. So we'll need to go back to fracking Canada. So make, you know, and that's when they set up the
Okay.
mega pipeline, which is the whole thing with the deep at the end.
Right.
But again, that's where I'm like perking up where I'm like, what's all this? Like you kind of have an answer for this universe. And very quickly it's like, oh, Sage has said X, Y, and Z will happen. So don't worry. And I'm always like, I don't
Yeah.
believe a fucking word you are
That's the thing
saying
is they
right
touch
now.
on some larger geopolitical things that's like, oh, Homelander wants to like separate from the Saudis, right? And it's like, well, obviously we rely on the Saudis for oil or whatever. So like you can't do that or we're going to be, you know, we're not going to have energy. And those are the kinds of things you have to think of as a world leader that in the show they're just like, well, it doesn't matter. Like Homelander will figure it out or whatever.
This is an Elon Musk stand-in. He represents a consortium of
Right.
billionaires that own the shadow government. I mean, they literally just say lines like this, and you're just like rolling your eyes at home, like, yes,
Yeah.
I understand.
It's a little too pandery on that front where it's like, yeah, I think Eric Kripke, look, it happens to the best of us. You become too online, and you let your online disease in your brain infect your show. And look, I'm guilty of it too. I love to doom scroll on Twitter and say, oh, these fucking idiots over here, these fascists, like, what are we doing? But you can't let that become like the main driving force of your show.
It's certainly this, Jacob. It certainly can't have 5 seasons of a guy who is part of like sexually assaulting a female member of the Seven and ends up in Toledo and like goes on this like whole like up and down like needing to find his place to him hosting a Manosphere podcast being his bit for this season where I'm just like, well, just like I get what you're doing, but it's like just ask yourself if that's even fun. Like, just like, do you think as a viewer every week I want to be like, yep, haha, we're making fun of, you know, alt-right podcasts again with the deep and black noir. Got them. Yes, this is fucking.
Not everything.
Yes, this is getting their asses. Yes.
Right.
Not everything needs a one-to-one comparison to the real world.
Yeah.
And, you know, we don't always want to be reminded of how bad the real world is. Like, that's kind of,
certainly not,
you know, where we're trying to escape from sometimes when we
escapism.
watch entertainment. But I do, yeah, like the Elon Musk thing, it was funny because then Elon Musk did comment on the show on Twitter and was like, oh, they made it woke or whatever. And then Eric Kripke's like, got him. It's like, I guess.
That can't be your point.
What you just said was an energy vampire to me, Jacob. That just sucked years from my life.
Yeah,
Drained.
but the problem is that there is these certain contingent of people that are so focused on. I mean, we're seeing it with the Odyssey now, where they're like, "How dare they cast Lupita Nyong'o to be Helen of Troy in the Odyssey?" Christopher Nolan has gone woke and hates Greek people, and it, you know, and it's like, can we let artists like do what they do and not make everything about you know,
No,
your whatever.
No, we can't.
Bullshit.
We've proven that we can't. Unfortunately,
I have to believe in the best of us that truly there's no way that none of this is real. And this is like psyops from fucking Russia to truly pay bots to make comments that are like Helen of Black more like, and you're just like, Like, who is it
Yeah.
just so that people will write these rage bait articles which just feed these things? Like, it's all just
Yeah.
like all it is
But then it
for
gets
engagement and
amplified
clicks.
by
None of it can be real, in my opinion.
it's
Right.
not real,
yeah.
but then it gets amplified by Elon Musk, literally the richest person in the
Yes,
world, who
yes.
has become so Twitter brained that he's reposting this and saying Christopher Nolan is anti-white. The guy who made Oppenheimer
God
as his
damn it,
last
Jesus
movie,
Christ.
which had pretty much an all-white cast, but
Right.
he's
Oh my
using
God.
DEI hiring practices for the Odyssey, because this is what their conspiracy theory is that in order for the Odyssey to get nominated for Oscars, it has to have a DEI component, which means literally that hiring Lupita Nyong'o is fulfilling this DEI requirement to get it nominated for Oscars. That's not how any of that works, you idiots. First of all,
Jeez.
Nominated
um,
for-
Oppenheimer
she's a
just won Best
huge
Picture.
Actress. He makes movies that sometimes don't even have women in them. Like, you think this guy does any of this bullshit? You think he cares?
Yeah.
No.
So it's the fact that there are people that think like this is like this is Eric Kripke's response to it. But it's just like we've all become so Twitter brained or so online brained that everyone has to be this. It has to be this cultural battle, right? When it's just
Mhm.
like that can be one aspect of the boys, but it also has to be like good in other ways, right?
My thing that I liked about this show was when the funny British man said "oi" and then you would do some violence. That's what I like. So
Right.
if we could do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that'd be great. And sometimes I even like when the dumb animal assholes are sniffing each other's butts. I've seen a lot of people constantly clipping that gif in the subreddit being like, we couldn't wrap up other storylines, but they had the budget to have this cat girl get her butt all smelled by this dog guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's what the show's been since season 1, asshole. It's had guys running in people's dicks and,
Right.
swinging each other's scrotums around. Like, that's the whole thing.
Sometimes I do have a problem with the profanity and the crassness of it, because sometimes it feels like it's just a crutch in a place of like something better.
Anything. Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, we're just gonna say fucking shit and talk about penises or whatever, and that's gonna be a
Yeah.
replacement for
Kimiko said
comedy.
queef here. That's a
Yeah.
kind of salient point. You're like,
And then sometimes it's like tonal whiplash, where you have
Yeah.
like some really emotional scenes, and then it's undercut by some kind of like crass joke or something. And that's why like the Black Noir, when he in the director, they bring back the director just to kill him off by like he gets like ass raped by
Healed.
a tentacle in the toilet or something. It's like, well, how am I supposed to feel like emotionally? Because it's supposed to be like an emotional beat, at the same time it's like this like crass joke. So
Right.
I have mixed
there
feelings about
there
that.
is literally an episode in season 4, the episode with the Tech Knight, right? The
Yeah.
super
Right.
dude and web weaver, where Huey goes undercover, where Huey gets raped.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gets raped, and he cries
And
at
it's
the
played
end.
as a
and
joke.
says,
Yeah. Oh,
she
shit.
was so mean to me, and it's played as a joke. When you say you had a problem with the crassness, blah, blah, and stuff, I can very easily say that's the whole point of the show. There is always, no matter what kind of filthy jokes, no matter what, there is always a bar to comedy. And the bar to comedy is, do you like these characters? Do you really want to see something bad happen to them? And when every character's like, oh, why did you have Huey get raped? That's not funny. When there have been other horrible sex acts, committed on this show that people laugh out loud about, that's where you as a writer have to be like, right, I can't hit that dumb stuff, like there's
Right.
levels to all these things, right? And
But obviously-
they sometimes just fucking lose track of it.
Yeah, it's the problem is like when you have a serious emotional scene and it's undercut by something like that, that's when I have the tonal whiplash. And it's like, yeah, you have characters, like you have a superhero that has like a dick that like that's his weapon, that's like super long.
That is
Right.
his power. Yeah.
And then this season they go even further. They have a guy with like a
Yeah,
scrotum, like
stretchy balls.
some kind of superhero ball sack. Yeah.
Right.
What's his
Scrotius. Yeah, I don't know.
Scrotius Maximus.
And how do you even market, like in the golden era, because he's like an older, like what was his gimmick that made him famous? You can't market that. Are you kidding me?
Was he like
Yeah.
a Mr. Fantastic Four guy who's like, that's all he could stretch now? Like, is that what the joke is? Or is it truly just that he's got stretchy balls?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like
Right.
when emotional beats are undercut, or like the crutch of just saying pussy dick fart butt like all the time, you know, it's like, all right, like
Yeah.
Kimiko like is leaning into it a little too
Yeah.
hard for my liking this season.
But yeah, it's like Kimiko. Oh, she can talk now, but she only talks about like hardcore sex stuff. And
Right.
It's
Have you
very
guys
kind of
seen
cringe.
gangbang porn? By the way, before we go on this mission, and then she says that, you're like,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Okay. Great.
Yes, good.
But I actually liked when they did some stuff like when they go to that superhero house to like test the V1 on that big fat guy.
Oh,
or
Young
whatever.
Kicks, right.
Young Kicks, and we meet that Raven chick, and like her and MM.
Is she
have,
supposed
like,
to come
this
back? Yeah, what's
serious
the deal with her
emotional
though? Like she
scene.
Why
seems
did
like-
she never come back?
Yeah. Right. But then it's like,
Only
why
two
are
ravens.
why are so many soups in this world just evil for no reason? Like even the kitty cat lady, it's like she just follows orders and just kills people just for what? Just so Homelander won't kill her, I guess. So every superhero is evil in this world except for Starlight and Kimiko, basically.
We don't see, we never see civilians doing starlighting. Like we never see that there's a force of good. Correct. It's just our boys.
Yeah.
And everyone else sucks.
Just
Yeah,
the
even more in
only
Gen B.
humans.
Yeah.
The only humans that are humans are the boys and when Paul Reiser's reintroduced. Otherwise, you see no
Yeah.
humans. I
And again,
guess
he had some
you could
interesting
say
scenes. Yeah.
he was incredible. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
him in a second. I want to come back to Paul Reiser, Jacob.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess the Starlight's missing dad, you see how his job as a sheriff is tied to starlighting. Like, I guess that's all of them
all you
being like,
get.
well, this is the good way of us. We'll tie her backstory. We'll get you a little bit more of, how that real world's interacting with all this stuff. And it's like, no, that did not work at all. Like you need 10 more scenes of that shit, let alone,
Right. And it's interesting that we're talking about X-Men recently, right, in our long form series. And that's all about, like, obviously Magneto is sort of a mutant supremacist in that, mutants are the next evolution in humanity. We are literally better than you humans. That's Homelander's position, essentially. So there's a lot of connections there, but Homelander's also like, but I'm also better than every other superhero because I am like the best.
Mhm.
So he's like more just Homelander supremacy versus soup supremacy.
Yeah, and I guess he has to get, because there's not a mutation here. It's like in a lab manufactured product. So he still ends up with his God complex. But yeah, it is.
Right.
If no one's going to love me, I'll just kill everybody. And we were promised something like that. And we don't get the scorched earth. We don't get him like doing something.
We get him setting up his plans, but
You get like,
Yeah.
not to be that guy. I just have so many questions about like when he says he's like the strongest and whatever. I'm like, all right, but I saw your son fight you earlier, and I've definitely seen you like struggle against like Butcher's tentacles and stuff. Like again, I know he's physically the strongest. They say that Rock Monster is the second most durable soup. Behind Homelander, he's the second most durable soup. Okay. I understand Homelander is super durable. Jacob, Invincible, right? Which is a show people critique for the animation, whatever, still has scenes where you have Mark holding his breath, flying to a different planet, coming back, doing acts of Superman things, like holding a building above his head. This show never has the fucking money to ever make Homelander look like he can do any of that bullshit.
Yeah. No, Invincible really has more realistic power scaling because you have Invincible who's like half Viltrumite. He's not as strong as the pure Viltrumites like his dad and the other Viltrumites. But so there's some kind of consistency internally within that show. This one, it feels like Homelander, however strong or weak he is, depends on how strong they need him to be in that certain scene, like with his hearing, where sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
But that poster, him going to space, you're like, oh, okay, I guess he can do that. It'll be interesting to see that scene. And then when he takes the Elon Musk character, well, you said he was an astronaut, so I dropped him off in space. That is literally a scene where he just goes, boof, and the camera stays at the ground level. We don't see him do that. I have no sense of like when he's giving the speech in the White House, when there's nothing left and the sun explodes, I will be the god of cinder and ashes. Do you guys feel like that's what he will be? In my mind, I'm like, I don't know, dude. You got shot up by a super steroid, when you were a fucking baby, and another one again now. I don't know what that does to you, dude.
Right.
No, and again, we've seen like Soldier Boy could neutralize him with his Soldier Boy blast, which is
just choke him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you would just do it. Malchemical breeze on him this season and he passes out. I'm like, what's that shit? Why did nobody ever think that shit up?
Yeah. There's a lot of different like ways that you could be powerful. Like you said, Malchemical, he could just knock him out. I don't know.
So we're talking a lot about things that didn't happen. What did happen? What's kind of the arch here? Because we have the camps, we have to get them out of the camp, and then Homelander hears about V1, and that's what will make him invincible. So there's this race to free our heroes, make the virus, and then get the V1 that'll make him
He's
immune.
so obsessed, he unfreezes his father. That's the reintroduction of Soldier Boy, which starts this sort of triangular quest of those two paired together to find the V1 while the boys circumvent that. While Butcher has his own 2 separate plans, 3 technically. We'll talk about the mysterious third one, but not only the soup virus, which they keep sort of making and pushing forward, and of course, pushing Ryan into a confrontation with his father as the strongest and only, as far as we know, natural born soup, back when it seemed like that was really something that the show was pushing to.
By the way,
be a big deal.
Yeah. There's a plot hole in this season because we meet Translucent's son who has the same power as him, but it's like, I thought you said that Ryan was the only natural born
Maverick. We can't talk about Maverick, dog.
No, my
plot hole of what you said. Yeah.
My thinking is there's some epigenetic thing where they gave his son V, and he just happens to get a similar type of power. Same thing we had in Gen V with his dad, and
that's
exactly
possible.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
But it is not addressed.
His name, Mike.
I can't remember his name, but rest in peace, that actor.
Chance Palmadero.
Yeah, but his dad and him had the same powers too. So that's how I assume. But again, it's not really addressed, and Ryan doesn't seem.
But
as
Ryan
special
was born with literally no injection of V, is what we're supposed to believe. Because Mike, you said before we started, I just want to call out real quick and say you said before we started, you printed off the logo of the boys. Literally, it's just saying the boys. Everybody check out if you're not watching at home on YouTube. Mike has printed off another awesome Mike Topper.
Sponsored by Amazon.
Sponsored by Mike's Mike Toppers, sponsored by Amazon. That you were like, and I just did the logo because what's the symbol? What would I do? Like a V1 or like a glowing, like injection of the V compound. Like what's the boys thing? I would argue the iconic image of the boys was baby with laser eyes, right? Wasn't that kind of like the image that they kind of tried to sell as this means the boys, right? So
laser
that baby with laser eyes, laser baby.
Yeah,
wasn't that Ryan?
I don't think that was Ryan. I think that was just a random baby in bot that they used, which was fun. Like that's when the show was like, oh, this is right. This is weird.
Yeah. And that might be our first moment where he picks him up and says, "Diabolical." Right? As he's spraying the laser everywhere.
Right.
Back with the show.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, not the podcast.
But so you bring up Soldier Boy, who he his son Homelander unfreezes him, and then Soldier Boy is a big part of this season and sort of his father-son relationship with Homelander. And every time it feels like they're reaching some kind of interesting idea here, it feels like wasted potential because it feels like they don't really know what they want with this character of Soldier Boy, where it's like, yes, it's Jensen Ackles. We love him from Supernatural. His character is kind of like, well, you're some kind of weird freak and you're my son. Okay, whatever. But then he has several chances to actually defeat Homelander. And he's like, you know what? You're still my son, even though you're a weird freak. So I'm just going to go to Columbia.
Best line of the whole season. You may be a weird asexual, but you're my weird asexual.
Right. Yeah. In the one shots.
They do this a couple times where like they go to Hollywood.
In other seasons they've done it.
Then, but then when he gets the V1, he has a chance to not give the V1 to Homelander. And he's like, you know what? Here you go, champ.
That's what Clara would have wanted.
A couple times. Jacob, Clara would want it.
Yeah.
Mike's exactly right. It reminds me of the most consistent thing about Soldier Boy, which is his dog shit writing. Season 3 is filled with moments where literally, hey, Homelander, I'm calling you up. I just learned when I jacked off to this magazine 1,000,000 years ago that they made you out of my spunk. Well, what do you think about that? And that's literally the end of that episode. As a viewer, you're like, oh shit, he's going to betray the boys. Literally, next episode, he fights Homelander. His actions never make any fucking sense. And they haven't for seasons at this point.
And they could have done something interesting with this character. And they try to do something with, again, you mentioned Stormfront. They bring her back up, Clara Vought, who... I guess the thing is they're both in love with her in different time periods, father and son. So they realize they both had sex with the same woman. Yeah. Homelander might have had sex with his mom, his Nazi mom.
Oh, God.
And that's the whole reasoning for why he doesn't stop Homelander. He's like, well, this is what Clara would have wanted. It's like, you have no care. Like, it's so frustrating because you have no character that's like, you could have been a great character, but it just doesn't reach his potential.
They use ChatGPT and they say 1950s to 1960s actor or actress. And it goes beep, 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 beep. Gloria Steinbeck. Then it says filthiest sex actor. It goes Cleveland Steamer. And then it goes event, at the time. It goes the bicentennial. And it goes, didn't I tell you the time at the bicentennial where I got a Cleveland Steamer from Gloria Steinbeck? That is everything he said. Word out of his goddamn mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
And he used to rule. He was funny. He would talk about Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
Oz, America's dad, made a hell of a drink, though. Would knock you right out.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's frustrating because I was higher, I think, on the first couple episodes when this was coming out, when we were just texting. I was like, yo, this is kind of working for me because I like the idea that Homelander knows they have the virus, thaws his dad to go hunt them down, but doesn't tell him there's a virus. Like they're sowing these seeds of division, and they just never full send it. They just walk up and walk back, and it's just like it ended up being nothing.
1 and 2 are good, dude.
Yeah, they had the chance to do something interesting with Soldier Boy, and then every time he just relapses back to, well, he's my son, so I'm not going to try to stop him. I don't really care about any of this. I'm just going to go do a bunch of cocaine and fuck off.
Right, and like the action with him too, like he's throwing the car and his shield's like cutting into it. Like that was cool, like power scaling. Like large objects are being moved by a man.
There used to be his PTSD, and Huey and Butcher know this. Like, if he heard gunshots, if he was like doing too much fucking pot, all that shit, he would be easily triggered and distracted. The whole season, I'm like, oh, they're gonna pull some crazy shit on him to like really get his fucking trauma up or whatever. No, there's like the mushroom thing, but that's just like gets him really emotional, and that's like an outside superpower thing. So.
Yeah, he used to have a really cool like Winter Soldier-esque character where it was like, the Russians like, kidnapped him for like a long time and like
radiated
brainwashed him and stuff and
stole his life from him.
Yeah. So I guess maybe we'll see more of him in Vought Rising coming
because Homelander ends up just choking him out and putting him on ice because they didn't get along anymore.
Which is why I felt like, the storyline amounted to nothing because it's like, Soldier Boy could have stopped him multiple times, doesn't, and then Homelander's like, okay, you didn't like my theme park or whatever that I'm building for you, so guess what? Back in the cryo tube for you, Dad.
Yeah. It's like, okay, great. So yeah, that's a bummer.
Where are you going, Bogota? I'm gonna fuck my way through the Panama Canal. Is that what he says?
Yeah, something like that.
Jesus,
which is interesting because I mean, I think it would be cool. Like, I kind of is interested in Vought Rising because I'm interested in like that period of like Cold War history and stuff in South America. The CIA was doing a lot of bad anti-communist type stuff. So it could be interesting to see that from a suit perspective.
Spoiler alert. I'm gonna watch that dumb fucking show.
I'll at least watch the first season. We'll see if I continue, but I'm gonna tune in. I will. I have a theory about that. I'll talk about later.
Okay. On the subject of Soldier Boy, of course, we had the one-shot episode when we get the big supernatural reunion that everyone's going crazy over.
Guys.
We got Jared Padalecki. We got the other guy.
The other
Yeah,
Come
guy.
on, guys. The other guy.
I'm not a
Misha.
supernatural guy.
Misha.
The only guy who ever had to apologize on Twitter for being straight and coming out as straight. I am married. I do have a wife. I'm
Wow.
sorry, everyone.
Because he was he got
That's great.
like the fans were just queer baiting him, and he's like,
So
no, I'm
hard.
straight, but they love to ship
No,
those guys I know
like,
in the
Uh-huh.
show.
Thank you very much. We all three of
Supernatural.
us have wives. And seemingly hate each other, but seemingly love each other as well, especially when it comes to
Yes.
money. So
I know
Yeah.
with Jared and Jensen, maybe they have had some off the field drama, but hopefully they resolve that.
But this guys, him being Mr. Marathon, him
Yeah.
being Malchemical, the celebrity poker, the weird memorabilia, the jabs at Sony Pictures not being tied to the VCU, and that legally they can't use the same characters.
Yes, that's
funny.
incredible.
Of course, you have all the celeb cameos: Seth Rogen, Kumail Nanjiani, etc.
Will Forte.
McLovin's like, hey, can you kill Michael Cera so I can get his parts instead?
Right.
It's been your friend for 14 years.
Yeah. And obviously that's commentary on sort of the cutthroat nature of Hollywood and stuff like that. And like these fucking assholes are just as bad as the soups, you know? And it's an excuse to see like all these famous comedians and stuff get exploded on TV and stuff.
But, and God bless, I love it. Again, the weird violence, this especially the running gag that he can't stop running into them. So fucking funny. This is what we were fucking missing this entire time. These are two weirdos we haven't seen much of or ever before. We've heard about them before, who, when they're introduced, have a scene that I love, which is when they knock Homelander out and they say to Soldier Boy, we have no beef with you. This guy is weird. He wants us to be gods and space cops. We want to go back to being celebrities and cool people. Why is he doing this? Yes, Soldier Boy,
this
abortion. He's like, what? My dad said we have to get abortions. And he's like, we know. Like, it's that, but the perspective is like, why? Like, if you told Brad Pitt tomorrow, like, you have to become Zeus and cull the herd and kill millions of people, Brad Pitt would be like, people love me. What are you talking about? Well, not him specifically, but you know, like other big celebrities, right, would probably not want to go to being tyrants and overseers when their job is being adored, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's why all these soups going along with Homelander's plan doesn't make that much sense. Like getting all these psychics to go with your plan. It's like, how did you convince them of that? You know?
Whenever somebody says something like, when Father says like, but this would be good for the church to make money, in my mind, I'm always like, wiping out 2/3 of the population amounts to you getting more money. How? What does, like, isn't your whole income based on like how many people come to what's happening? Like, how does that work? Explain that to me.
Right. And I get that, like, no one wants to disagree with Homelander because they're afraid of him and they don't want him to kill them, but it's still like everyone just willingly goes along with whatever his delusions are.
Right. So this is like the most we see of the world building of there is a resistance, because all the actors are like basically fuck Homelander until he shows up, then they turn coward real quick. But these are the only people who are like, yeah, you could get 10 superheroes that could probably defeat him if they all ganged up on him. You know, like just find 10 decent ones, you know, and you could probably get it done. Like you said, Misha could knock him out.
I feel like,
yeah, they could have got it done right then.
That's the thing. It feels like in this world, there's like a lot of soups that are just happy to live their debauched lifestyle as long as things stay the way they are with Homelander in charge. But him wanting to, like, you know, completely uproot the
status quo
world
of society,
and, like, kill a bunch of people. Yeah, it's like I feel like a lot of soups would actually be against that.
It's if you look at it as far as like, but if Republicans actually just voted for health care, it would actually, but it's against their, you know, they vote against their self-interest. It's like, I understand how we can all be blinded and not see what's the better option for us. Sure.
Yeah.
But again, just introducing these characters like Malchemical and Marathon Man, and then just for a one-off scene where they end up getting killed off, when it's like it's hinting at some larger world building that's interesting, and then it doesn't live up to its potential. It feels like
we go to the West Coast Avengers for one day.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got the baby oil Diddy jokes. Yeah.
But we have this Right.
Got the Diddy baby oil. Why does he have that with his Nazi stuff? That's
And they
scary.
use it to defeat the marathon man. Or so he can't move fast, right? They like put the oil on the ground and he slips.
Slides.
Right.
Very
right.
silly.
But so the overarching plot for a lot of the season is the quest to find V1, right? Which is the original VOT formula, which will basically make you invincible and immortal. So it's what Soldier Boy has. It's what the original crop of superhero has. And it's why Soldier Boy doesn't age. And so if Homelander gets the V1, it would basically make him unstoppable. And so the boys are trying to find it so that they can destroy it before Homelander can get it. And Homelander's obviously trying to get it before the boys can make a virus that would kill him. So it's the race to find this V1.
Right.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the Vought Rising people. Go ahead, Colin.
I was going to say, just to check in with kind of our overall characters, at this point, mainly all interactions are kind of still into that trope that I really don't like, where there always has to be a season of a show where all the characters are against each other. Like, very rightfully so, of course. Everybody is like, Butcher, you suck. You're acting crazy.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I want to kill everyone or whatever. But mainly you've got like Starlight starts the season mad at Huey because he's acting too weird from being in the prison camp.
Well,
I'm like, oh, I don't like any of this. And then you have the Frenchie and Kimiko stuff. I'm like, I don't like any of this. And then just real quick, Jacob, you have the who's just like, and I'm going to die this season. So I'm just going to be weird the whole time. Psych. No, I don't. You're like, okay, I guess so. But please.
Right. Well, I think with Starlight and Huey, they've been apart for a long time. They have different ideals now, but I think the main...
She got an abortion last season that they don't ever talk about anymore, but they kind of deal with in the last episode, obviously.
But the big dilemma here is that obviously they're trying to create a virus that would kill all soups in the world, to kill Homelander. And this is obviously what Butcher is fine with. He's like, even though I am a soup now, I don't care if I die or live or die. But that's the big dilemma between Huey and Starlight, and with Frenchie and Kimiko, where it's like Starlight has now sort of sided with Butcher, where she's like, yeah, it's worth it. Even if I die, it's worth it to kill Homelander. And Huey's like, no, that's insane. Like, I don't want you to die. But at the same time, the V1, they're like, well, if we give you and Kimiko the V1, then you'll live forever. And then there's the moral dilemma of like, do you really want to be immortal and watch all your loved ones age and die?
And I don't believe that for a minute. As a viewer, not even for a second, I'm like, you're not giving our heroes V1 to make them immortal. Nobody's ending the show that way.
Right.
Yeah, it's the classic vampire dilemma of like, oh, you can become immortal, but everyone you know and love will grow old around you and die.
Goldie, why didn't you ever take it? Oh, you're so handsome, Bombsight.
You'll find out more in Vought Rising. Go watch it.
Just watch the must-see prequel series now, Mike.
I'm going to be recast.
Don't ask too many questions.
It's going to be.
But and that that's what's going on with Kimiko and Frenchie as well. And then the idea of, well, the backup plan is to give Kimiko, to irradiate her so much, expose her to radiation so that she develops the same blast that Soldier Boy can do, which can remove the powers of any suit, basically. And so that's when the V1 thing eventually does not pan out and Homelander gets the V1, they're like, okay, plan B, make Kimiko into Soldier Boy and we'll blast him and that'll be it. Yeah.
And it ultimately, the V1, this whole quest that we're doing for 2/3 of the show, it's really inconsequential when it comes to the end game of this series.
Yeah, it's a total like red herring, which is why so much of the season feels like filler, because it's like it amounts to nothing.
It literally does.
Because as a fan, as a viewer, you're sitting there going, they actually do have a lot of tools in their sandbox. It's interesting that they've got Ryan. It's interesting that they've got the virus. It's interesting that they've got Soldier Boy. Will he flip flop? There's kind of some potential there, especially with his weird relationship with his son all season. And then obviously, like you said, Jacob, introducing that it's replicatable, whatever. That seems like a red herring out of nowhere. But you have those things, and you're seeing there as a viewer going like, there's a lot of fucking potential here. It makes
Right.
sense that there's 8 episodes because there's a lot to do here. And ultimately there's not.
No.
Yeah.
There's almost, in fact, nothing to do here. And really, all 3 of those things really don't factor into anything. They just pull the MacGuffin of, we've got the smartest girl in the world. You could just make Kimiko do this. Has Kimiko ever had a line with Homelander? No, we're not really worried about that. She'll
Right.
be in the final face-off with him and kind of just be in the background to set up that it's him versus Butcher. But don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And then you have so many characters that like you have Sage. Oh, is she gonna flip and work with the boys? You have Ashley. Oh, is she having
Yeah.
like some moral quandaries about working with
crisis,
Homelander? And this is some of maybe my favorite stuff of the season is that these characters that are close to Homelander, like Homelander's inner circle at this point, which is like the Deep, Ashley, like all these people that worked for Vought and stuff, and they're all having what's her name, Firecracker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Valerie
and
Curry,
her-
who does an incredible
yes.
performance this season. Yeah.
Her moral dilemma of being a very religious person, growing up in the church, and now being told you have to give up Jesus Christ and worship Homelander and stuff, and she's having a real crisis of faith. And like this is some of the best stuff was that episode. Yeah.
The fact
Mhm.
that now, again, with life mimicking art, which I'm saying I don't necessarily fucking like, I'm just pointing out that
No.
it keeps happening,
Yeah.
with it now being that Pam Bondi, these people have been let
Marjorie
go from
Taylor
administration.
Green,
All
Yeah.
these
who
people
was
have
the
been
biggest
pushed
Trump
out,
supporter and now
were
is
in his
anti-Trump because
tightest
he turned
circle,
on her.
who
Yeah.
you just imagine, Jacob, the same way these people do it about Homelander, I'm sure ran into each other's offices and shut the door the second they were done talking to go, did you hear he was talking bad about so-and-so? Was he saying anything about me? Okay, well, we need to do this to stay on. It's like all these psychological games you have to play to stay ahead of a homicidal narcissist, who's just like
Mhm.
power hungry maniacs. Yes,
Yeah.
it does an incredible job of showcasing that, and especially with the Firecracker character. And it lets you
Right.
down when it keeps telling you that one character in particular, Sage, is going to circumvent all that. Yes, this is all good. That's what he said. Then all according to plan. Yes, yes, yes. The one thing I can't tell, what will Soldier Boy do? Because of course I also watched season 3, and I know he's the poorest written character of our entire franchise. So none of his internal logic
Well,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Help me
Yeah.
read his brain.
Again,
Mhm.
Sage's whole character is like, you're the smartest person in the world, but there's one thing you don't understand. Human emotion
Clara.
called love. You don't understand love, Sister Sage. That's your big problem. And then
Yeah.
it's like, I miscalculated because love is unpredictable. I didn't see that coming.
The Fifth
It's like,
Element.
you're the smartest person in the world. Yeah.
Right.
That's a bummer. That's like a huge bummer, guys. Even just like hearing you say that and sum it up that way, Jacob, that's like a huge bummer. And I hope Eric Kripke is embarrassed about that for the rest of his life.
But that's her emotional
Yeah.
arc in this episode. And Frenchie's like, literally, you don't understand love, and that's like your weakness is that you
Yes.
think that you're a genius, but you actually don't understand like the most basic human emotion, basically. And then her whole thing is like, I want to be stupid. Like, please take away my power so I can be stupid
Take
like you
away
people. Like
the burden.
this curse of being smart is
Intelligence.
terrible.
Can we talk
yeah.
about Frenchie, Mike, the one boy's character who bites it and
Mhm.
says his great line of, I bet you never danced a day in your life.
Great line, great send off for that character. Yeah, that's like, because that's what cuts Homelander. It's the people who aren't intimidated by him. Like, he doesn't kill Huey, he never kills Butcher because they don't buy into his shit. So, not to insult him, you've just never danced a day in your life. Like, you don't know, you can't fathom joy. Like, what a
Yeah.
way to go out.
It's hitting home what a pathetic person Homelander really is. Like, he has no soul. Like, he's an empty vessel of a human being. And that's kind of reinforced over and over, where you have A-Train. The last thing A-Train says to him, you're nothing. Why was I ever scared of you? Like, you're pathetic. And that's what people keep telling him over and over. Without your powers, you're nothing. You're just a pathetic little boy who craves attention.
Paul Reiser, to come back to it, Jacob, Paul Reiser,
Yeah.
the legend, reintroduced this season as
Yes.
working in a movie theater, putting on his suit does a pump of cocaine just to go out and sling the deep popcorn buckets.
Hey,
Truly,
I'm still in the business.
So
truly,
good.
Jacob, when
Yeah.
he says I'm still in the business, truly one of the biggest laughs I've gotten all year. Quite the
Yeah.
delight that I had.
He's
watching
working at a Vought
But
movie
his-
theater too.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
his final scene where he is interacting with Homelander and Homelander says, "You're not scared of me." And he says, "Scared of you? No, no, no. I feel bad for you, kid. Like
Yeah.
I always feel bad for you. Like, you had a really hard lot in life and, God bless." And he's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can leave." Like, that's like so great. And he's
Yeah.
just like, "No, I just see through how like sad you are." And,
Yeah. Well, he's like,
Yeah.
so the reason you're telling me all this is like you're not gonna let me
you're
live,
gonna kill
right?
me, right? Yeah.
He's like, okay, well, let's have a heart to heart, like,
Yeah.
and then he's like, okay, you
you
can
seem
go.
like you need this. And
Yeah.
here's why this series ends better than Stranger Things is that they know to bring back Paul Reiser to give you some resolution with his character.
Hey,
You got to
Yeah.
bring back Dr. Brenner. Come on.
Right.
Paul Reiser.
No, we're gonna have what's her name instead?
Oh, don't remind me. Ugh,
Sarah
worst.
Connor.
Boo.
But no, some of these emotional moments, like with A Train, like I think A Train had one
Yeah,
of the best
yo.
emotional arcs the last couple seasons.
Episode
of,
1
like,
is the
yeah.
highest rated episode of the season and one of the highest rated episodes of the series. I think that's
Yeah.
important. I think that is because A Train gets such a cool send off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you see he's actually conflicted, and you remember like this show started with A Train running through Huey's girlfriend and killing her, and that's what literally sets off everything in this show. And so to go from that to being legitimately like deprogrammed from the alt-right of superheroes, right, and becoming a good person again.
He joined the Church of Scientology in this universe just to get ahead, if you guys recall in season 2.
Right.
That's right.
I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, and then to basically go out the way that the whole show started by not running into the civilian, causing him to crash into a tree, and Homelander catches him. Like it's a full circle.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the best developed characters in the show is A-Train's arc. He kind of gets redeemed.
Yeah.
Good writing.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the Deep, who is like a character that never gets redeemed. And it's like he goes out like the piece of shit that he always was. And, if you're doing one-to-one real world things, he's sort of the J.D. Vance or the Marco Rubio or any of these other sycophants around Trump, right? Who are like, oh, how can I please you, sir?
I like being around losers because it makes me feel better, right? Kind of thing.
And then literally this season, Homelander's like, look, Deep, I've never respected you. You were like the lowest form of person to me because I have zero respect for you, and you should just like kill yourself, basically. And then his arc is that the ocean rejects him, all the wildlife rejects him, and in the end kills him. So it's kind of a tragic story.
The only thing I like and accept is Kevin, you need to take responsibility and own up to all the actions that you've done and all the evil you put in through this whole series. And he stops and he thinks for a second, and the most petulant charges at her that he will not in the end.
Just the refusal to change at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never. I will never. I learned no lessons.
Which I kind of like that character exists. He's sort of he's the opposite of the A Train, where it's like, I will never learn a lesson. I will never come to any realization about myself. I will remain the pathetic person I always was.
Isn't there like a big Andor character people like that's kind of that way, that just gets like worse and worse? Am I wrong about that?
Cyril, kind
of. Yeah.
He just stays complicit constantly, but he has a little bit more.
He realizes his fascist girlfriend like kind of fucked him over with his job.
Way too late.
He dies in a riot. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do.
Right. I guess full circle too for the Deep is he's reverse orally penetrated, which is the crime that he committed, right? So it's like poetic justice.
That is on purpose too,
yeah. Season 1 starts with him sexually assaulting Starlight
when she joins,
and he remains a despicable character, even though he's funny at times because he's such an idiot. And I do like when they're like, "You're gonna have to like make a PSA about this pipeline and stuff." He's like, you know, the sea creatures, they actually kind of hate this pipeline. Like, I
Mhm.
did like that part. It's like they don't really fuck with the pipeline. Like, they kind of hate it actually.
And,
Did you
yeah,
like the Deep Blue Sea homage? James making
Samuel L. Jackson
Samuel L.
should be a
Jackson,
shark.
we're gonna kill you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come into
Here's
this ocean again, you're dead.
He could technically have just been like, guys, that was Black Noir. I didn't do that. I'll help fix it.
I didn't
Like,
do
he,
it.
he actually didn't do it. So he could just tell them
know
I
it
that.
was you,
devote my
Kevin.
life to you. But
Right.
no.
No.
Yeah.
He is eating sushi randomly in this. He's like, I can't believe I was missing out on this all these years. So he does kind of forsake fish, you know.
Yeah, what an asshole. And then they're at the beach and they go, "Oh, it's okay, the deep's here." And he just shakes his head and runs away.
Yeah, great.
Again,
comedic.
they're refusing to answer
we
the call.
see you.
Yeah.
We see you.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, and I do think that actor Chase Crawford did a
He's-
great job just portraying this pathetic character.
He's like a Gossip Girl guy, right?
Yeah.
Or one of those shows like this. I mean, this is the role of a lifetime. He's fucking perfect. Come on. The peak,
Yeah.
they call him online.
Okay,
So
nice. Nice.
I think a lot of these actors, like Jesse T. Usher, who played A-Train, like a lot of these Seven actors
Great.
and stuff, like did
Yeah.
a great job in their roles and stuff.
Horrible
Of
as
course-
Shaft Jr., great as A-Train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like it at a certain point. They're like, oh, there is no 7. There hasn't been 7 members for a long time, actually. It's been a bit of an inside joke.
little joke, actually. He says to himself, it's actually been a nice little joke for us.
That's when he fires
And the writers
Kevin,
have
yeah.
admitted since season 1, that has been the joke, that they never wanted to have all 7 members of the 7.
Yeah,
Right,
that's fun.
because it starts with translucent dying and then goes from there.
So, yeah.
So yeah.
All Father, they're trying to get everybody primed for the Church of Homelander to come. He's the new Jesus the Lord. And we got Starlight, or it's not Starlight, Firecrackers conflicted because he's like, we're going to make all the
Yes.
churches do crazy Homelander shit, including your childhood
The
church.
Democratic
so she's
Church of
conflicted.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Democratic Church of America.
Which this guy's good,
What's
but I don't know if we
interesting
need
is
All
that,
Father as a character. Like Firecracker could be doing that job of like prepping the public for Homelander, you know?
Yeah. But
Yeah, they want to make
Allfather has sort of a history with Starlight too, because remember
Yeah.
Starlight sort of grew up in the church, and
You're like a big brother to me.
But I like that Firecracker's whole arc is that she has to choose between this pastor who kind of raised her in the church and stuff, and is she going to just throw her old church under the bus? And then she does on live TV. She supports Homelander and does throw her old church under the
Right.
bus, and then goes back to Homelander, and they have their final confrontation basically, and she's like, look, I support you in whatever you do, and he kills her because I think he kind of freaks out and is like, wait, this is too much or something. So he kills
she's
her.
like, even you need love, and that's what he sets him off. Like, nah, I'm beyond
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I don't need anything. Yeah.
I don't need anything.
I don't
yeah.
need
And
your
we should
breast
also
milk.
talk about that. Yeah.
Mhm.
In the background too, he's been very bothered by the fact that his father has started sleeping with her because of their shared interest of firearms.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Flirting over pistols.
Why don't you have any pussy hair? He says that. In this
Oh
show.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Because Homelander's a weird asexual who only ever had sex with Nazi lady.
Becca. I guess Becca.
Well, I guess, yeah.
He
Oh,
made
yeah.
The thing is
Riot.
that they made Homelander this weird asexual, but one of the inciting incidents of the show is that he did rape Becca, and
Why did
that
he do
created-
that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, he used to torture Maeve.
Right.
and he made Stormfront give him hand jobs even after she got toasted. You know, a lot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that recording
was
where
more
they
sexual.
have to like find that,
Oh
and
yeah.
she's saying like,
This'll turn them against each other.
Zyna Dixon, and it's like, yeah, like all the like like Nazi sex. It's like, why are we wasting time on this? What is this? What is
Right.
this?
Which again,
But
ultimately,
anyway,
by
do you
the
wanna talk
time,
about the
by the time we
Yeah,
get to the
go ahead.
finale, Homelander feels the
Yes.
weakest he's ever felt, even with the V1. So we get our confrontation. We have to go
That's
through
so
a tunnel,
crazy.
and we're right in the White House, exactly where we need to be.
we have the White House assault on the White House. Now, here's the thing: Homelander's defense of the White House is that they just lock them in a room and start shooting at them with guns. When we know several of the people are soups that have bulletproof skin, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's their big plan to stop them from getting to the Oval Office, is to just like shoot them with guns.
A tunnel
And
with guns.
then
Yeah.
Ashley helps them. Yeah.
Don't waste my bullshit on this, dog. I don't know what to tell you. This is
Yeah.
this is bad.
It's I don't like the broad stroke. I don't mind the broad strokes of what happens in the last episode, but it does feel like, oh, we needed to like reduce the budget suddenly, so we're just sticking to this White House set and not seeing like the outer world and not doing too much effect wise, because turns out we didn't have as much money as we thought or something. Like that's what it feels like.
The comics is literally they released the poster. This was the third and final poster, aka the third lie that Eric Kripke has told. They released right before the finale. It is the most famous image of the final comic book, which is Butcher walking towards the White House, hundreds of soups flying up in the air, ready for battle to defend it with their god Homelander inside. Now, the poster released is that image. Take away the soups, it's
cool
Homelander flying outside. It's just Homelander flying up there. So it is a showdown. It's a face-off between the two. Now, even that, though, implies that they will be having an epic battle that maybe expands. You had
outdoors
in the first... God help us, Mike. Out a window at least. In the first episode, you have Homelander, X-ray vision, Butcher, and he says, William, that viper's nest inside you. My God, what you've done to yourself, to defeat me. This implies at some point, what I thought anyways, again, fan expectations, that when Butcher is ready to do this thing, he will be ready to do this thing. The tentacles will explode out of every pore of his body, and he will turn into Venom. He will be an all-consuming, I will stop you, Homelander. What is it? No, he kind of does this Omega Red thing, speaking of the X-Men, where he just kind of slings, Spider-Man style, this one tentacle out of his wrist. Every once in a while, that's all he does. Pachoo, pachoo. This epic final battle. I mean, it is them doing that, and it is Kimiko in the background having a fucking fever dream about fucking Frenchie, and then it's over. It sucks.
And not to mention you have Huey, who's like, remember my thing all along was technology, like I know technology or whatever.
Oh,
I know
shit.
the sprinkler system. It's like, wait, what? You know sprinkler systems? When was that your thing?
Yeah, season 1, when he worked in the electronics store.
Him and MM
right.
somehow fucking kill O-Father by putting the gag on his mouth.
Titanium ball gag.
We get the second best scene in the series, which is Huey having to pretend to be Butcher. Oi, diabolical, isn't
That's
it?
good.
And O-Father follows him into that room.
Yeah. So they managed to kill O-Father, which is like, so if O-Father was like, had that ball gag on when he was like doing sex stuff with Ashley, like he could have accidentally killed himself somehow.
Yeah,
that's part of the appeal.
Kill him?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like
they're doing weird
asphyxiation.
sex
Sex
stuff.
noises aren't as loud as your full
His power. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
guess.
They're just copying the from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, when that's how they kill
Anson Mount.
Black Bolt. Yeah, they take his mouth away and then he explodes his head, right?
That's true. They did do that, huh?
So yeah, we get the Oval Office confrontation. And this is being live streamed on TV.
It's all televised.
Homelander's about to give his address to the world of like coming out as God. And all the psychics are ready to kill any non-believers, I guess. And that's when our boys come in and say, Oi, Homelander.
Oi, Kent. Yeah, Ryan shows up and punches him up a little bit. He keeps trying to fly away, which was funny when he's like, oh shit, they're all here, and he tries to fly away and he can't, but like, he's been a lot faster than is shown in this fight. Like, he's power scaling is bad. Like, Herogasm was way
again, they sort of nerfed him
in half
for this.
with his eye vision. She bounces off a wall when she's blasted it with this time.
Yeah. His laser vision is sometimes more powerful. Like you said, he previously in this show was able to cut Kimiko in half with his lasers. and now all it does is just bounce off their skin and like
Pre V1. Now he's taking the
so he should
V1.
be stronger
It made
now.
him.
Yeah.
He
He
shot eye lasers into fucking space. He's so goddamn strong.
That's
Right.
literally all he did with V1 was a sky laser one time. That's wild.
Yeah. So what was the point of V1? He seems exactly as strong.
And
as
all
he
the
used to be.
scenes are surrounding it. Exactly. It's inconsequential. Like, yeah, Kimiko
But then
beams him.
Kimiko blasts him, and so he loses his powers. And now this is the part I like
This is
because this
okay.
is, I think, the death that Homelander deserves, where he goes out
Absolutely.
the weak, pathetic person that he always was. He loses his power. He tries to fly. Gives us one last meme gif that we can use in years to come. And now this
your
is
dick.
I'll suck your dick. I'll eat shit.
fucking dick.
Yeah, no, that's great.
suck
And it's all
your
broadcast
dick,
because the
I'll
cameras
eat
are
your
ruling.
shit.
Yeah.
Yes. And this, I would argue, this is how Homelander should go out. It shouldn't be and maybe there should be a big battle before that, before he loses his powers, and maybe that was wasted potential. But in the end, he goes out the sniveling coward and loser that he was. And what is so funny about it is all the right-wing people online who are like, Homelander is so based and cool. Like, we love Homelander. These stupid libs created like the greatest right-wing character of all time. And now they're all posting about, oh, generational aura loss when he loses his powers because he's begging to suck Butcher's dick and do all this very emasculating stuff. They're like, I can't believe they did it to our guy like this. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. Like, that's who you're rooting for this whole time. Like, you don't understand that. But anyways, so
He's always been that.
Yeah.
And I guess in that way, like, I am upset about the posters that lied to us outright. Like, if those didn't exist and this was the ending, I'm like, okay, well, maybe the point is, despite his powers and his superhero and his V1, in spite of all that, he still could not get anything done. Like, he was so ineffective because he's just so incompetent or obsessive. Like, that's the point. Even with all that power, he's fucking nothing. Like that kind of works if we didn't have the posters that were nuclear. But like, I'm okay with that idea.
Yeah.
He never got anything done.
His whole plan to become a god was insane and was never going to work, even when he had powers. Like, it would just resulted in a lot of people dying for no reason, and then he would be lord over the ashes, right?
He
and then,
self-isolates
once
to
he
where
loses
he's the
power-
loneliest he's ever been at the end point. Like, there's no one around him. He's completely
Yeah.
alone, and he doesn't succeed in his mission. So it's like the weakest
No, he's
version.
either killed
Yeah.
or driven off everyone that was closest to him over the past couple seasons, where he rejects any kind of personal connection to anyone else.
Yep.
And then he loses his powers, and then Butcher wastes no time and just kills him with his crowbar, stabs him in the head.
And opens him up.
Yeah, and that's what we've been leading to this whole time. And Butcher finally gets what he wants, but the show doesn't end there because, of course, we get the final twist of he goes back and his poor dog. What was his dog's name?
Terror.
Terror. R.I.P. Terror. Terror dies, and he basically decides, you know what? Even though Homelander's dead, I'm still going to release the soup virus because we have to kill all the other evil soups in the world.
If you look at the Wikipedia, what it says about the episode is, following the death of Homelander and the rejection of Ryan to come with him and have a normal life, Butcher returns home to find that his dog has died of natural causes, leading him to lose his last shred of humanity.
Yeah.
To which I say, I don't believe any of that.
It's a little rushed. I do
I
like
think
the
to a
beat with
certain
Ryan,
degree,
where he's like, "You're both bad people."
yes.
I
The
choose neither of you.
season. The whole season was this. This is what this needed to be the whole time. The Joe Kessler, we didn't even talk about how
Fuck
all
Joe
that
Kessler.
stuff's gone and only makes one weird quick appearance where they're like, remember this weird subplot from last season?
Oh yeah, it was
Don't
a guy.
worry about it.
It's basically
Yeah.
Morph from the X-Men, who's like, I can turn into this guy from your past.
Oh, right.
Good.
Yeah.
And he turns into
Also,
Jeffrey
one
Dean
of
Morgan.
those psychics couldn't have just. He says, "I shut down your superpowers" when he's talking to Butcher. One of those psychics couldn't do that to Homelander. Just be
Right.
like, "Hey,
Guess not.
stop."
You don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the whole point that the show's driving at, is that Butcher and Homelander are both bad in their own
Two
ways.
sides of the same.
And
Same
yeah, and
bloody
obviously
coin.
Butcher's whole drive for going on living was to kill Homelander. And so after he killed Homelander, he essentially had nothing to live for. And the rejection of Ryan, it's just like, yeah, what does he have to
But
live
the
for at this point?
idea that truly the way that it comes up on this show is because my dog died, I have to commit genocide. Is
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
things where you're like, John Wick wouldn't do that. What are you talking about?
Right.
Well, I think, yeah, because Butcher is an insane person. And at the end of the day, he is like, the other boys are only working with him because they need to work with him to kill Homelander. But as far as like, he killed Victoria Newman, he's done a lot of bad things in the past. They've all kind of been like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. Like, we don't want anything to do with you other than working together to kill Homelander. And so, yeah, he goes back to Vought Tower to release the virus into the sprinkler system. Huey kind of realizes what's happening, follows him with a gun, and ends up shooting him. And
Basically by accident.
yeah, but it was kind of like, is that kind of what Butcher wanted to happen? Like, just put me
Yeah.
out of my misery at this point. Like, I've got nothing left to live for.
I wouldn't have stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the end, Huey has to kill his sort of older brother figure in Butcher. They've had a complicated relationship.
look like Lenny, don't you? You look right
Mhm.
like him, don't you?
My poor boy Lenny.
Canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
And that relationship has been, I mean, they speed run to get the evil Butcher comics ending, but they have been from the start, the Butcher, Huey's what lets Butcher have a reminder of holding on to his humanity. So it's like, yeah, I guess it's fine. It's just rushed, but what are you going to do? We have to advertise our other
And also
show.
Huey finding out about his past, like when he was in Afghanistan or wherever he was, and you find out about the mission with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It's like, oh yeah, Butcher's always been this person where he basically got his whole unit killed.
He'll sacrifice his squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always believes in the sacrifice. That's
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah.
So
I do
he's
like
that's-
the bit when he's talking shit to Homelander when he's in the radiation chamber because Soldier Boy put him in there because he didn't like him and then he eventually liked him. But when he's like, you even beat the shit out of your own son, that's the lowest kind of scum, that you can be. Like, really, like, you're not even a good father, Homelander, because that's another thing that, hurts him. But
yeah.
Yep. But Rip Butcher, piss off.
And
Rip
so
Butcher.
it ends with Ryan goes to live with MM and his family and be his
Don't
little
love this.
adopted white son.
MM renews his vows, and it's like, and this is my boy Ryan, and you're like, I've never seen you two talk. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
That's the only place he could go with Butcher dead and everything. So
Yeah.
I guess. And then Huey and Starlight are together still, and they're gonna have a kid. And they're happy together.
And
What's
she still
interesting
has
is, like,
her
the
powers because she wasn't near
Yes.
Kimiko, right?
Right. But the status quo of the world is essentially unchanged, where Vought is still in power.
Stan
as a very
Edgar
powerful
inherits
company.
it.
Stan Edgar is still like the CEO of Vought. Like, so other suits
They're
still
arguably-
exist. The
they're
system
arguably in a-
persists. Yeah.
In a better position because he can just blame any issues they've had for years
Oh, that
on
was just
Homelander.
Homelander. Yeah.
That
Right.
was all Homelander nonsense.
There's just
Like,
there's
what do
just
you
one
know?
bad apple. The system is fine. The system is good.
Yeah.
It's just that one
Always.
bad
Always will be.
apple. Homelander was bad.
And that's
Yeah.
ultimately, I think, what frustrates me the most. It's not the no nukes going off. It's that the show ends with the status quo being maintained. Like, nothing was accomplished to uproot the Vought and the corporate
No.
control of everything. It's exactly the same.
Right. And at times, the show has sort of critiqued capitalism and rampant consumerism and this stuff. And then in the end, it's like, actually, everything's fine. Vought's still in control. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this show was made by Amazon. So I guess they have to say that.
Yeah. And
That's
we were
kind of what
talking-
it feels like.
right. And we were talking Mandalorian last week. It's like another thing that ultimately in the end is of no consequence to the greater narrative of the
Yeah.
world it is set in. Like, okay, cool. And Soldier Boy's still alive. What are we going to do with, whatever. It's such a
Yeah.
bummer.
So there'll be Vought Rising and stuff. But yeah, it would have been cool to see like a bigger change to the status quo of this soup world where it's like holy shit, Homelander's dead. This like changes everything. Like we need to rethink our society.
Yeah, but
The
nope.
one thing you get is Bobby Singer, who of course plays the character Bobby Singer on Supernatural, whatever that actor's
Yeah,
name
that's
is.
right. Yeah.
Is calls and says, "Hey, I'm the president again now. Democrats
Right.
are in charge, and we're putting together the House of Soup activity, which means, with the government regulation about. And Huey, if you
Yeah.
want to join, open offer. No, I'm going to open my own Radio Shack because that's a thing that people still use and want. And the
Yep.
company
Remember,
that
I like
makes this
gadgets and
show
technology.
didn't
Yeah.
destroy them. I love gadgets. Do you remember my gadgets?
Remember,
Yeah.
I love Billy Joel. Here's my favorite Billy Joel albums ranked.
And what does it end on?
Billy Joel song.
And
probably.
his unborn daughter, is going to be named after his dead girlfriend.
It's a Piano Man. What do you mean, Billy Joel? It's the final song is Piano Man.
I
you
forgot how it
motherfucker.
It's been a couple of weeks. But and the Soup Affairs
Yeah.
division existed before too. So again, it's like, hey, remember how things were in season 1? We're going back to that. You in, Huey? And it's like,
Right.
okay.
That's
Great.
that's the ultimate problem. Is like you failed the boys. Like the boys failed
They
because
did.
it's like
Yeah.
like the mission was not to just kill Homelander. It was like to change the entire system of how soups work
Ultimately-
and how they get away with
Jacob,
killing people and stuff like that.
hmm
ultimately, what is presented to Huey is these people need oversight. We need to be the change. The guilty twist is Butcher is obsessed. To him, it is only about killing Homelander. Now,
Yeah,
the
it's
whole
personal.
series needs to be a statement against that fact. And instead, what it ends up being is we killed Homelander. It changed nothing.
Mission
And you're like,
Yeah.
accomplished.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
you blew it. Like you
Yeah.
blew it. You did not do it, guys.
Nope.
Stan Edgar is still in charge. The guy that was CEO of VOT
Yes.
when all this bad shit was happening.
Yes.
Like he's not a good guy. Like
Again, arguably in a better position.
True. Yeah.
"Oh, you took
Ashley's
care
in
of
jail.
Homelander for me. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. It was all Ashley and
What a
Homelander.
Ashley became the
I'm
first woman
now.
president
That's so
and then
funny.
was
She's like,
impeached
"And I'm the
immediately.
first woman president.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, you accomplished nothing. There's one less soup. They can still make new soups, and Soldier Boy's still around, like, who's immortal, bomb sites around, whatever.
It should have ended with like all V1 is destroyed, like all Compound V is destroyed, all soups have been subjected to mandatory losing your power beam or something like that. Like
Right.
some kind of
We alter the
change
virus
to
to
the
be a
whole system.
depowering thing. Bada bing, bada
Yeah.
boom. And now all the soups are just depowered.
but they can just Soldier Boy blast with Kimiko every soup in the world or whatever.
That'll just take all these
You're in the
180
queue.
years. Yeah, get in line voluntarily.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all the
Come on, one big
radiation it
room.
gives you. You're in the queue. Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Next up, into the beaming booth. But yeah, like that's what needed to happen.
So-
Like, nope, just VOD is still rolling, and that's what it is. And ultimately, kind of a bummer. What did we spend 5 years on?
Yeah.
Nothing. Radio
Right.
Shack. Spent 5 years
the
for Radio
boys.
Shack. Yeah.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's the boys. Should we head
Definitely.
over to final thoughts and wrap up our
Yeah, I think-
final thoughts on the boys?
Let's do it.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We are powering down. We're landing. We sucked all the electricity out of the area, and our eyes glue for a second, and then we did a little blast, and that was kind of it. So now we're done, and our powers are gone because we're
Mhm.
wrapping up talking The Boys, the final season here on Normies.
Should
Like
Annie
Us.
be?
That's
Is it
right.
safe to be flying when that pregnant with a baby?
I don't know. And is their baby going to have powers, or is that
Right.
Oh,
would
yeah.
have to be objective?
Another natural born soup.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding? You think that's not in the works? Come on.
That's the spin-off. Yeah.
So here's my thoughts on what VOT Rising, how it will work, and how they're going to recycle ideas that didn't happen in Gen V that should have. Basically, Soldier Boy is in the present day. They do the past. It's going to be flashing back from present day. What's VOT doing now? Flash back to the early days of VOT. And in present day, it's very much Soldier Boy is the new Homelander for our Gen V team to figure out how to defeat. And it'll be back and forth. I think that's
Oh,
what
that'd be
I
cool.
would do. That way you
Like
can
that.
tie up
They're
loose
gonna have
ends.
the Gen V actors and stuff.
If you would do the time thing, like Monarch, you have a modern day timeline and a 50s timeline. And
Is
just
that what
weave
it's going
back
to
and
be like?
forth.
Or I thought it was just all going to be set in the
That's what
past?
I want it to be
said we're
like.
gonna find a place for them. Yeah, like I don't know, man.
That's how you would find a place.
Supposedly this first season is a murder mystery set in the 40s, and Mike, you sent us the trailer, which looked, fine.
Yeah, I know. We already got a noir Spider-Man.
It's like, yeah. I mean, it's cool that like Aya Cash is coming back and stuff like that. I like her. From our favorite show, You're the Worst.
And we like
it feels
Jensen
like the Gen
Ackles, but
V.
yeah.
Jensen Ackles, yeah. But what was the point of Gen V at the end of the day? Like 2 seasons of Gen V for what? Like they barely show up in this last season and they're like, we want to help. No, stay in this cabin. You can't help. You're too young. It's too dangerous.
Drive these
So
two
you're the
survivors
great
somewhere.
Marie Moreau.
Yeah.
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
Aren't you, like,
Homelander
super
level
powerful?
powers
You
and
could-
shit.
You could probably help us kill Homelander.
Sorry, I drive the bus, and that's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You could explode
Okay.
Homelander's head, maybe.
Yep, but
all right.
all right, great. But that's how I would do it. Is maybe season 2 of Vault Rising if it happens. Have a flash forward because Soldier Boy's just in a tube still chilling. Sam Edgar is going to leverage that or could.
Yeah.
My son was a weird freak and
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry. The 7 is back. Whatever. Like they could do anything with that.
Yeah. I just wish they would do anything interesting with Soldier Boy because he could be an interesting character.
But he's the
just
worst
falls
written
back
character.
to,
Yeah, that's Colin's right.
I like doing drugs and sex
Fucking-
stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
You literally can't have those just be his lines in Vault Rising. So he's not going to be like
Yeah.
that. It wouldn't
But they
make
kind
sense.
of they hint at who he is as a character, which is that he was like a rich boy who like
liar.
grew up and puts on this tough guy persona because after he got his powers he became super strong. But before that he's essentially a twist on the Captain America, where Captain America was like a little wimpy guy before he got his powers.
But he was brave in
And-
heart. In
but
his heart, he was brave.
he had the
right.
inside, whereas Soldier Boy was just like a rich piece of shit. And
Coward.
then when he got his powers, kind of put on this persona. So that's what they're going for, essentially. So maybe that's kind of what.
That's
Vault
enough for a
Rising will be
TV
about.
show. That's what you think?
I don't think so, but they're doing
We'll
it.
see.
Oh, Boys
Yeah.
That's
Mexico.
enough for a whole TV show. 50 jobs. Yeah, and The Boys Mexico is a spinoff that's
Does
supposedly
Marie
coming.
Monroe speak Spanish? Se habla español?
The Boys
Hola,
Mexico.
I drive El Paso.
Hola, soy Marie Monroe. Mucho gusto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I think if you contrast him with like Bomb Sight, who seems like he's like the good guy, I guess, where he's kind of a good guy character.
He's addicted to smack is the one thing that we're told
Oh, yeah.
about him.
So they're
Yeah.
all bad people, but
I don't
that's
know.
kind of how the show is. But yeah, I don't know. It just sucks that promotion of that show led to several episodes of this final season suffering.
It's like if you remember in Stranger Things season 2, when they had the infamous Chicago episode where she goes and meets the Chicago X-Men,
mhm.
who are never mentioned again until they write her sister back into the show.
Only
in season
one
5.
of them had powers. The
Right.
others are just freaks.
Yeah.
Freaks and geeks.
Whatever. But it's like
don't talk
if you
about
had that, but in the last season of your show, there
Yeah.
was several
But,
episodes.
but if 4 episodes were Callie talking about how we were going to go meet the other freaks, and then Mohawk guy showed up and they're like, Mohawk guy, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
It's like, we have a lot of history, you and me, Callie.
Right.
Damn. That's true. Once we meet Mohawk guy, it's going to
So,
be crazy 2 episodes
we'll
later.
see.
Oh, finally.
What? Season 1 of Mohawk guy's show.
I'm sure when we do our Bot Rising episode, we'll talk about it. But I'm really we never talked about season 4 other than like the first couple episodes. That's surprising to me.
That makes sense to me. Here is my final thoughts on the boys.
Yes.
The whole time we are talking about this episode, all I want to do instead is do our big whatcha coming up, where
Yeah.
we're going to talk about so
That's
many
right.
other much more fucking interesting things.
Things are going
These
on.
YouTubers making movies, these Star Wars fans blowing their brains out, like all like trailers, video games, like all these fucking things going on that literally are the way that the schedule is now. Everything is so tight that we're trying to keep up with so many new releases that it's it's always hard, and we always try to stay on the momentum that we need these episodes to be like, yo, here's all the other shit. And if to our old style. If we had not done a full episode on The Boys season 5, here's what I would have said in the Whatcha. Oh, by the way, did you guys watch season 5? It fucking sucked and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, man.
I think we had to talk about it though. I mean, we talked about
We had
Stranger
to.
Things
We
last season. We had to talk about the last
We
season
had
of
to.
The Boys.
We
Even
have
though it's
to.
continuing
Yeah.
in spin-offs or whatever.
But
But
if-
you're right. Like, there's
yeah.
a lot going on where we have 2 indie horror movies that are beating Mando and Grogu in the box office right now. We'll talk about it, Normies, on our
Like-
Whatcha. But you're right, because the last 2 weeks, like, we had to put off this episode for a week.
Yes.
Like, The Boys ended like a week and a half ago, but we had
Like,
to put it
we're-
off because we had to talk Mando and Grogu last week.
We're doing
Right.
He-Man when it's landing, but that's just
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, thank God, because otherwise we would have had to like jump around for stuff with that too. You know, like we're tight right now.
If
It's a tight
He-Man
time.
was this week, and once we had all watched the finale, right? If it was this or the weekend prior to this, I would have said, "Hey, maybe we pivot to He-Man." Like I would have
Hey,
totally done
hard
that.
pivot, Mike. Absolutely. You know,
So
Yeah, and I know Colin's just praying that He-Man is good because
It looks
he's at
fun.
his wit's end here with
there's no
intellectual
chance.
properties.
let's.
There's no
I put
chance.
this above Stranger Things 5, but below Game of Thrones and above Lost.
Wait, below? So Game of Thrones.
So
is
the
better?
worst. Game of Thrones
you?
is the worst. Most worst. Game of Thrones most worst. Lost. This and Stranger. No, this is lower. Yeah, it's the fourth. It's better than Stranger Things. It's the best of those 4, I guess. I was confusing
Okay.
I
myself.
don't, but again, I don't think this is a bad, like when I'm saying finale, this isn't a bad finale. It's a bad final season. And did I think
guess final
that
season,
Game
yeah.
of Thrones, the whole season was bad?
Ooh,
I don't know, but that in that specific instance, I thought that last episode was fucking terrible. So there's
The whole
differences,
season was bad.
You know what
though,
I mean?
because you had the long night.
we got
Yeah,
The
our
completely dark episode.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, my opinion on Game of Thrones is that the last season just exacerbated problems that were happening for several seasons, which I think maybe is
Kind of like
also
this.
the problem with The Boys. Yeah.
But you've also said, Jacob, that it hasn't ruined it for you because you watch those first 4 seasons quite frequently. Would you ever rewatch The Boys?
I wanted to go back and watch season 1 just to remember what the show used to be like and to see if it was like as jarring of a quality drop to me as I remember it being, because I just remember season 1 being so interesting and well written. And so I kind of do want to go, and actually it's the same thing I did with Stranger Things, where I went back and watched season 1 of Stranger Things after the finale, and I was like,
Yeah,
wait, yeah, this show was like, this season 1 was
Oh,
really
I
good.
like this.
Yeah.
it was
This is-
great.
this I remember why I like this now. This is good. Yes,
Mhm.
good.
But I
good.
probably would not go back to The Boys very often.
We peaked at Hero
But I'm
Gasm.
glad
That was
it
where we
existed.
could have ended it.
Yeah, well, I think that was the original plan. From what I read online, it was that like if it ended in season 3 or whatever with the Hero Gasm Soldier Boy confrontation, Soldier Boy fighting Homelander, like that would have been a good ending to the show without stretching it on too long.
We have our Temp V Power Crew and Soldier Boy, and that's it. That's enough.
Yeah.
It's Harvey Dent. You either
But,
die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain, and this kind of became a bit of a villain by the end, I would say.
That's right.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I think for my final thoughts, I mean, I we've kind of said it all already. I don't feel like I need to repeat myself on it, but just to say that the way that Homelander died, I didn't mind that. Like, I think that was the right decision, but certainly time could have been spent better within this season than how it was, and it felt like there was way too much filler and setting up spin-offs, and that was kind of a disappointment. And then just the false advertising of what this season was actually going to be.
Yep.
So I agree with all that.
Yeah, I'd say that about covers it. Oh, boy. I guess that's where you put it.
But it's been a run for long-running shows that have ended badly recently. We just had Stranger Things. Now we have The Boys.
Yeah. I don't watch that Hacks. I was very impressed that every review I read was like Hacks
like
nailed
Hacks.
incredible finale, and I was like, oh shit, it can be done.
You know what's another one that I don't watch, but Euphoria just had their long return.
Oh,
I've heard
season
that.
3.
Guess what? I
Yeah.
do. Let me tell you, worse than this.
People say
All
we're
right.
off the
Nailing
rails
it all,
hard.
dog.
Yeah.
Off the rails. We're talking outer space.
Yeah,
Whoa.
because they had 2 seasons, and then there was like a 5 or 6 year gap where it's like, oh, the entire cast became movie stars between season 2 and 3, where it's like Zendaya don't want to do this shit anymore. Jacob Elordi don't want to do this shit anymore. Like they want to be movie stars, so it makes sense. But they came back for 1 season, and it's totally insane from what I've heard. But so that's another one that just ended.
Yep. With great power
But we
comes great
hate Sam
responsibility.
Levinson, right?
Yeah.
Great power comes great responsibility. We've got Star Trek Strange New Worlds that's going to be ending soon. Hopefully that has somewhat of a satisfying ending for us, right?
That's true.
Because that's our beloved Star Trek. Yeah.
Muppets.
If you had to make a Muppets, if you had to make a prediction, Jacob, will that end in a way where it puts all the characters in a box, or do you think it'll be more towards a, well, no, this is Star Trek. Even though this series is done, they could be, back for more. So a little more open-ended, maybe.
I would say, well, we know what happens with Pike in his future, right?
And so does he.
But I would say you could have it to the point where you have a spin-off that's essentially remaking the original series with Kirk taking over as captain, Spock, Uhura, all your, usual people. So they could essentially bring back most of the same cast just without Pike and make our guy Kirk the captain. Now, are they going to do that with the future of Paramount and Star Trek being so up in the air right now, where it's like, obviously they just had that Starfleet Academy canceled immediately.
Can't.
And now there's no new Star Trek like in production. Nobody knows what they're going to do with the sale of Paramount. So it's just like, it's all so up in the air that it's like, who knows when we might get more new Star Trek, and if it will continue the same direction or it'll be a totally different thing. Who knows?
That's why I pray there is some finality to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Hopefully
best
there's
place...
a finality to this core of the show, the core cast of this show. Yeah.
I think, the best place you position the characters is Kirk is in charge of the Enterprise. Maybe he goes on mysteries in your imagination in the future, and the final scene is Pike leaving to go to the mission that will put him in the chair, and he's like making peace with everything, and the final line is, hit it. And credits.
Hit it. And then
I like that, Mike.
Then maybe
That's
Kirk
how I do it.
narrating the opening, the Star Trek narration
that.
they always do.
I like that, guys. That's good. Yeah, you hand it off. That's really nice.
Free.
5-year mission. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go, Paramount. Just do it like that and you'll be fine. You already shot it though, so who knows?
But I would love to keep going with, because I like, obviously, Spock and Kirk, like those actors, to continue those characters possibly, but we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah.
And La'an's grown on me too. So, yeah.
La'an, yeah. We love all of them.
Oh, yeah.
It's been the most consistent run of Star Trek. But anyway, that's The Boys. Less consistent.
Yes.
But, we watched it.
It's a bummer. I hate that we're done. I hate that the book's closed, but
better than the comic.
They all do.
That's what's interesting, because I said that I was watching Invincible to you guys, watching the new season of Invincible, and saying, "Oh, it's really good." I'm not an Invincible comic reader. Colin, you said, "Well, they're just doing the comics straight up as an adaptation." That's very different from what the Boys did, where the Boys took the original story and characters of the Boys and then went their own direction with the story to an insane degree, where it splits off from what the comics are.
And then Invincible tries that with one episode. They do that Hellboy episode this season, and it's the lowest rated episode of Invincible. And Robert Kirkman's we just tried to give you something original. Well, he's like, what do you want out of me? And they're like, no, just do the comic.
That's the last episode I watched.
But they do the Viltrum Night War this season, which is a big thing. Yeah. And we learn more about Viltrum and stuff. And I still think the voice talent is great in that show. The animation is where they save money, because people say, oh, the animation is not very good, which is, it's whatever.
We did a season 1 episode. It's crazy that we just didn't have time to get into the Invincible. Like we said, Mike and I weren't watching it. Otherwise, it might have replaced this episode.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both superhero shows on Amazon. I don't know. Omni-Man versus Homelander.
Oh, Omni-Man. Easy clap. Easy clap. Or to play Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat. Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
I think Oliver
so that
could
was The
take
Boys
him.
season 5, fifth and final season. As far as what we have coming up, well, next week we already mentioned it. We're going to be talking about Masters of the Universe.
Would you say we have the power?
I think we have the power.
power.
We definitely have the podcast. So
We have the
Oh,
podcast.
boy.
mhm.
Just write the intro for us now, Mike.
Okay,
Just,
yeah,
you
while
put all
it's
that down.
rolling.
Pen to paper here.
I'm
Come
going to
on.
be getting loaded on He-Man Long Islands at the movie academy.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to Denny's, of course, for the He-Man tie-in.
Nice.
Yes. And I have some hopes for that movie because it's directed by Travis Knight from our beloved Bumblebee.
Mm.
We all love Bumblebee.
Mhm.
And so we'll have to see about He-Man, Masters of the Universe. But that's next week. Then we've got, of course, our 400th episode, Whatcha, where we will be catching up on everything that we've been watching, reading, playing, etc., etc.
Here's what I'll say. We'll be catching up on everything we've been watching, reading, playing, etc. Over 400 episodes. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dun, 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 dun,
We're
dun.
going to be talking about a lot of stuff in that one. That's going to be a big one. I can already tell.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big, packed Whatcha. And then we've got X2, of course. We're talking the second X-Men movie. And then at the end of the month, at the very end of the month, we have another big superhero movie coming out. A little person named Supergirl.
Oh
So
yeah.
you're being
Girls can
ironic.
be heroes too, Colin.
Girls
that?
When
get
you say
done.
big movie, you're being funny.
Hashtag this gun don't jam, okay?
Wow.
This gun still has bullets.
Like
Um,
don't corn sweat it. You know, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
This gun still hashtag this gun still has bullets.
Yeah. Don't
He's very officer.
underestimate the gun. Yeah.
Mhm. He's not
New
directing
image
this.
released from Man of Tomorrow today online.
Looks cool. Yeah, look cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
No hype. Zero
Luthor.
hype from anybody in the universe.
Colin, don't
It's
you tell
like-
me that.
It's the wind is out of everyone's sails. It sucks.
Spider-Man
I called this
2,
one
no
of
one
my
cares.
top 10 movies. Fuck. Oh, Spider-Man.
Supergirl's going to reignite that flame, and then Lanterns is going to carry it over.
Oh,
People are gonna be saying,
man.
Lantern.
the DCU is back, baby.
Take
We'll
a bite
see.
big on Clayface. Clayface.
Clayface coming out later. It's all looking up for the DCU, let me tell you.
It's all looking up.
Yeah.
Well,
So we'll see. But that's the rest of June. We've got Masters of the Universe, 400 Whatcha, X2, and Supergirl. So stay tuned, normies.
hell
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, we're in the summer. We're
Oh.
solidly in summer movie
swing now.
territory
We're gonna
now.
be talking about Jason Momoa. That's that's disgusting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when we talk about Street Fighter, we'll talk about him again.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
All right, big movies incoming.
All
Cool.
right,
That's right.
well,
So stay tuned for all of that. coming
Yeah,
up.
absolutely. You cunts. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We hope you're not about to release a internet virus on us as you're checking us out on YouTube, on all social medias at normies_like_us, where you can rate, review, subscribe. Helps us out a ton. You can find out what we're recording next. You can make suggestions as well, although Jacob just told you the next 4 weeks coming up. So get watching, get listening, and of course, always tune in because we have been your hosts. This is Colin Miko. Double penetration.
Oh, God. Yeah, Mike Lander. I'm a terrible person, I guess.
I'll eat your shit, Mike Lander.
Oh,
I'll eat your fucking shit.
This is Jacob's milk.
Oh, I almost
Want to know
went
why
there.
they call me that?
Yeah, yeah.
I had a little cat. Hey, sweet little cat. Here's the thing. Okay, great.
Great.
We're wasting time on
Yeah.
this.
I rescued a
Right.
bird once. Yeah. Anyway. Thanks, normies. Catch you next time.
Bye.
Catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm not
Hit
going
stop.
back in the box.